Welcome to follow the World Cup races from Östersund, Sweden, when the IBC World Cup continues with the second race here in Östersund. And as you can see here on the stadium area and also from the live stream here, it's snowing. It's snowing quite a lot when the competition is starting in a few moments. Light snow -4 degrees and the wind is 5 meters per second, but otherwise it's the circumstances are in very good shape and the conditions on a track are good. We are getting ready to start the sit skiers World Cup here first. The women and men are getting ready to start their second race here in Östersund, and that will be the fifth race this season, which started in Vuokatti in December with the 3 races, middle distance, short distance and a sprint. And now we have the first long distance race ahead of us of this season. Yesterday, middle distance were won by Oksana Masters and Daniel Knossen. Team USA has a very good and strong effort in yesterday's race when Masters and Kretsch and Knossen and Pike were two best in women and men's race for sit skiers, followed by Birgit Skarnstrand from Norway, third, and Vasil Gravchuk from Ukraine, third in men's race. In women's race, we have 5 competitors starting in today's race. Young Merle-Marie Menje from Germany will be first to go out, followed by Rachel Morris from Great Britain, Gendal Kretsch from USA, Andrea Eskau of Germany, and Birgit Skarnstein from Norway. And the favorites, they are Kretsch, Eskau, and Skarnstein. When we looked up yesterday's skiing times and the competition, Kretsch was second, 40 seconds faster than Skarnstein, and it was quite tight between Skarnstein and Eskau in yesterday's competition, so I believe it will be a fight between these 3 women when they are skiing today 6 times 2 kilometers. So same track as yesterday, but today it will be skied 6 times in this light snowfall here in Östersund. Men. Patrick Foragasi from Germany is not competing today, so we are having 9 athletes. Brits, Callum Debois, Stephen Thomas, Steve Arnold, followed by Giuseppe Romele from Italy, Kamil Rosiek from Poland, Scott Mina from Great Britain, and then the favorites, Vasil Gravchuk from Ukraine, Martin Fleig from Germany, and yesterday's winner, Daniel Knossen from USA. Knossen will number 1 also today. He is the favorite for today, but you never know what will happen on a track. Men are skiing 2.5 kilometers course, so they have a small extra loop there on their track, and they ski it 6 times, so that means that men are skiing today 15 kilometers. And this is also for them the first long distance race, as it was for women. Knossen being number 1, 3 out of 4 of this season's races, so he is in an excellent shape. Only loss that came was in Vuokatti sprint race, which was won by Colin Cameron from Canada. Canadians are not here in Östersund. They are home in Canada preparing for the home World Championships, and teams we are missing here from Östersund are also all Asian teams, Korea, Japan and China, and Brazilians, Belarus teams are not also here competing, but we have the top athletes from Great Britain, USA, Germany and many other countries here, and Östersund, first time ever World Cup races for para-athletes here, place which is known about its World Cup races in biathlon. And at the moment here in the Östersund Biathlon Stadium, it's snowing when young Merle-Marie Menje from Germany is getting ready to start. Menje was yesterday 8th, 14 years old young athlete starting his World Cup season here in Östersund, and Menje on a course And today these 2 kilometers will be skied 6 times, so a very long competition ahead of her. Approximately we are waiting that the winning time will be there at 47 minutes, and that means that for Menje it will take today this race almost maybe 52-53 minutes in this quite heavy snowfall, which is getting tougher and tougher all the time. Menje starting, as you can see, quite flat here in the beginning, but there are also climbing on this track, which is for women 2 kilometers, and the maximum climb is 12 meters, and total climb on this 2 kilometers track is 47 meters, which is head of Rachel Morris from Great Britain also. Rachel yesterday 9th, and also trying to get her first World Cup points here from Östersund, and now Rachel on a course trying to catch up young German Menje, starting 1 minute in front of her. And also approximately if Rachel continues at the same pace as yesterday, she will be out on a track today a little bit over 50 minutes, so it's a tough race for the sit skiers today ahead of them. Then favorite, maybe favorite number 1 for today's race, starting Kendall Kretsch from USA. Kendall didn't compete in Vuokatti first middle distance race, but after that second, fourth, and yesterday second. And for today's race, she is one of the favorites. Yesterday's competition was excellent, and by the way, in Vuokatti she won all 3 biathlon races. And in biathlon we had one a little bit longer race there with 4 shootings and 12 kilometer skiing. So that means that Kendall Kretsch is in a good shape for also these long distance races. USA skier starting her competition. And she is followed by a tough German, Andrea Eskau, 8 times Paralympic champion and 8 times world champion when we calculate together all cycling, biathlon and cross-country races. So here is a very strong skier this season. The victory hasn't still not come to her. She was second in middle distance in Vuokatti, third, and yesterday 4th. So is it going to be Andreas day today? A long distance race here in Östersund, and after her the favorite, third favorite for today's race is getting ready, and that's Birgit Skarstein from Norway. Birgit, who was third yesterday, if we look the results during this World Cup season, first, second and third, it's a little bit downwards, but we hope that today it upwards for the positions on the podium. This Oslo skier, Skarstein starting as the last woman in women's race. There, Skarstein's out, and of course, when the competition is so long as it is, 12 kilometers, you have to know a little bit what kind of pace you are going out today, because otherwise the last couple of laps can be very tough here in Östersund. The track isn't easy, although it looks to be quite flat here in the beginning, but there are climbing totally 47 meters on a one loop, so that means that it's almost 200 meters climb, over 200 meters climb during this race. Men starting straight after women. Patrick Foragasi from Germany. Yesterday's competition, Foragasi was 9th. Isn't competing today, the German skier, so that means that the three Brits are going out first. Callum Dubois, Stephen Thomas and Steve Arnold. So first one to start, It Calum de Bois from Great Britain. Number 12 taking her position at the starting place, getting ready to start in 40 seconds. Young Brit is member of these newcomers in Great Britain's team, and when we then look at the teams here, so totally Brits have the biggest team in the sit skiers competition when we calculate the member of the athletes here. They are doing excellent work on a para skiing area in Great Britain. Calum de Bois from Great Britain yesterday 11th, 22 years old Brit starting, and he got the first World Cup points yesterday, so that means that he's eager to get some more on this long 15 kilometers long race. Men are skiing 6 times 2.5 kilometers, and there is a little bit extra when we look at the difference between women's and men's track. So when women have almost 300 meters climbing, the men will have 300 and almost 50 meters climbing throughout the race today. So it's tough race, and you have to take it easy in the beginning. Next to start, Stephen Thomas from Great Britain. And yesterday Stephen had some unluck here in the end of the competition. Today we hope that Stephen has just good luck for today's race when we are calculating all the laps to be skied, and then after the last one entering the finish line, Stephen starts to chase up her landmate Calum de Bois there, and also Thomas, 39 years old athlete from Fornholm, Great Britain, there on a course. Women been out on a course now for 7 minutes for first athletes, and it's a few minutes, and then we have them here on the stadium first time when we have here the third Brit, Steve Arnold, getting ready to start. The man who loves football and follows it very accurately. And today in the transportation we just looked at how fast can you make a call in Premier League, and it was 8 seconds. Today the long competition will be much more longer than that when Arnold starting his race from Titford, Great Britain, comes this 39 years old athlete starting his 15 kilometers long distance competition. And after Brits we have then Italian stallion Giuseppe Romele getting ready, and we have here Merle-Marie Menje from Germany approaching the first intermediate place together with Kendall Kretsch already past her here on the stadium area. So Kendall Kretsch is in a very good pace, same time as we have Giuseppe Romele from Italy starting yesterday's competition when we had middle distance race, 6 kilometers for men. Romele was 7th. It was tight with Rosiek, Mina and Romele, and also Furuberg there in the middle of the pack. And now it's a new day, a new long distance race for Romele, and maybe top 5 places in today's race are possible for this Italian. Kendall Kretsch, Merle-Marie Menje, Rachel Morris and Andrea Eskau approaching the 2 kilometers intermediate place when men are getting started. Then we can see Italian going out, and at the same time German Eskau approaching 2 kilometers, where we have here Kendall Kretsch, now first women at 2 kilometers. She has used a little bit over 7 minutes at the moment. 7:27.4 is her time at 2 kilometers. Kamil Rosiek from Poland, 5th yesterday. Wielczewska, Poland, comes this 34 years old athlete. Many times among top 10. Yesterday the top 5 place. And if it's a good day for Rosiek, it means that today it's possible to be in top 5 also today. But will be seen. Meni-Mari Merle goes on a second place, 2 minutes behind Kendall Kretsch at 2 kilometers, where we have now also Andrea Eskau and Rachel Morris approaching that place. And then Scott Mina from Great Britain and Gabrielert starting next. It was very tight between Mina and Rosiek yesterday. And also in the same fight was Giuseppe Romele. So interesting to see this fight between Rosiek, Mina, Romele today in that group number 2, we might say so, when we have the 3 favorites starting after Mina. There goes Britt and then Andrea Eskau coming to 2 kilometers. Eskau takes the second place, 12 seconds behind Kendall Kretsch. So quite tight at the moment, and then also Rachel Morris pushing there to 2 kilometers, and Rachel there just ahead of Menje going at the moment on the 3rd place. And then we wait for Birgit Skarstein to that intermediate place, last starting Norwegian. In men's race, we had 3 last starters. Yesterday's number 3, Vasil Kravchuk from Ukraine. 22 years old, young athlete, is getting ready, and it's been on the way up, 5th, 8th. Didn't compete in sprint in Vuokatti, and 3rd yesterday, so also today wants to be on the podium. And Skarstein to 2 kilometers. Skarstein goes on a 2nd place, 9.6 seconds behind leading Kendall Kretsch. And then next man to start is Martin Fleig from Germany and Grundenfinger, 29 years old skier. Very stable places during this season, 3 times 4th. And today he wants to be on the podium, and he has good possibility to that. On my papers I have the top 3 here: Kravchuk, Fleig, Nossen fighting for the podium places. And then we have the group 2, Romele, Rosiek, Mina. How is it going to be today when we have this men's 15 kilometers skid? Yesterday they used on 6 kilometers the best skiers real time, a little bit under 19 minutes. So it's going to be a long race ahead of men today. Martin Fleig on a course, and then we have 1 man standing, and that is the leader of World Cup, Daniel Gnossen from USA. And Gnossen has been very strong this season, winning 3 out of 4 World Cup races. Only sprint was won by Colin Cameron, and Taras Rad was 2nd and Gnossen 3rd in Vuokatti, but otherwise Gnossen has won both middle distance race and then the short distance race in Vuokatti. And now it's the time for the first long distance race. Gnossen going out and starting. So we have all men now on the course. Debois, Thomas been out there for 8 minutes, and now at the same time that Gnossen going out, we have Callum Debois approaching stadium area and coming to 2.5 kilometers first time. Men, as I said, skiing 6 times 2.5 kilometers, so a long race ahead of him. Standing at 2 kilometers in the women's race, Kendall Kretsch leading, Skarstein from Norway 2nd place, 10 seconds behind, then Eskau 12 and Moritz Menje on places 4 and 5. And we have here Colum de Bois approaching 2.5 kilometers, started first and goes here in the lead. of the back. And interesting now to see Debois was yesterday third best Brit. Mina was sixth, then Arnold 10th and Debois 11th. And young Brit wants to be better than that in today's race. Also Stephen Dome Thomas now approaching the stadium area. And Steve Arnold. So the three Brits starting first and now approaching here. And also Kendall Kretsch already coming to 4 kilometers soon. Kretsch who is leading at 2 kilometers. But first Debois from Great Britain. First man at 2.5 kilometers. And you have to take it easy here in the beginning. It's a long journey ahead of these men and women. These 15 kilometers sit skiers. And it's interesting, I have got the possibility tomorrow to try this sit skiing, so interesting to see can I stand on this sledge at all. That will be seen then tomorrow when we have a rest day. Debois takes the lead, 10:07 is the time, and then Arnold and Thomas here approaching, also turning here at the stadium area, and then Kendall Kretsch together with the British gentlemen at the stadium area, turning already to 4 kilometers. 1/3 of this race is behind her soon, so 4 more laps for Kendall Kretsch, and for these men 5 laps more before entering the finish line and finish straight here. First, Stephen Thomas coming to 2.5 kilometers, and it's quite tight with Debois at the moment. Thomas goes on a second place, 4 seconds behind Debois, and then Arnold after him. And Arnold being faster than the others, Arnold takes the lead, 44 seconds ahead of Debois. And Kendall Kretsch, of course, taking the lead at 4 kilometers in women's race. 14:41 is her calculated time. She has been out on a course at the moment for soon 16 minutes. In women's race, next one to approach this 4 kilometers intermediate place is Andrea Escau. Germany is here on the stadium area. In front of her we have Giuseppe Romele from Italy and Kamil Rosiek from Poland, approaching 2.5 kilometers intermediate place. Rosiek, who was yesterday 7th on middle distance race, then the real time that he used on 6 kilometers was 23 minutes, so double that, 50 minutes will be the competition time, and you know that when these turns are quite tight, you have to slide your sledge and stay on it to get to the maximum speed, so you don't have to accelerate again and again. You have to keep steady good pace throughout the race. First, Giuseppe Romele, now to 2.5 kilometers, and followed by Kamil Rosiek. Steve Arnold currently leader with the 9:23, but Romele beating that by 8 seconds, and then Rosiek taking the lead from the Italian by 10.7 seconds. And then interesting to see what is difference between Kretsch, Escau and Skarstein. First, Kretsch, Escau on a second place, 26 seconds behind Kendall Kretsch, and also Birgit Skarstein here at the stadium, turning towards the 4 kilometers intermediate place, and also Merle-Marie Menje and Rachel Morris soon at the 4 kilometers. In men's race, Rosiek leading. Scott Mina and Vasil Kravchuk are men next to approach this intermediate place at 2.5 kilometers, where we have now Birgit Skarstein from Norway coming, and Birgit is coming to 4 kilometers. Women are skiing 2 kilometers loop. Kretsch leading, and it looks to be so that it's quite tight between Skarstein and Eskau. Now on the second place, Skarstein takes the second place, 17 seconds behind Kendall Kretsch. Kretsch, Skarstein, Eskau, and then we have Marie Menje from Germany next to come there, here to 4 kilometers, and also Rachel Morris is here on the stadium area, and soon at 4 kilometers. Menje passing it with the time 19:05. She has totally been on a course soon 21 minutes, and that 19:05 is her percentage time of her competition time. Then Kravchuk, yesterday's third. And now we're getting interested to see what will be the situation. Also, Fleig and Knossen are at the stadium area. First, Kravchuk to 2.5 kilometers, taking the lead from Scott Minach by 34 seconds. Minach leading Rosiek by 5 seconds, and Romele there. So as I assumed, Minach, Rosiek, Romele, these three fighting for the places 4, 5 and 6. And then we have the top three on Knossen, Fleig and Kravchuk. And now Kravchuk leading with the time 8:24.7, and Martin Fleig approaching that place, and it looks to be so that Fleig has been a little bit faster on this first 2.5 kilometers, but we can also already see here in the stadium and also on the live feed that Knossen is quite close to Fleig. 4.7 seconds is difference between Martin Fleig and Vasil Kravchuk. Fleig leading, and then Daniel Knossen. And Knossen, he takes the lead by 18.6 seconds ahead of Martin Fleig. So when we have all men past the first intermediate place at 2.5 kilometers, it's so that Daniel Knossen from USA leading. 8:01.4 is the intermediate time, by 18 seconds ahead of Martin Fleig. And here first, standing on women 4 kilometers, Kretsch leading by 17.5 seconds ahead of Birgit Skarstein. Eskau 9 seconds behind Skarstein, and then Morris and Menje places 4 and 5. And men's situation at 2.5 kilometers is so that Knossen leading, Fleig second, Kravchuk third, 23 seconds behind Knossen. And then next three on Minach, Rosiek, Romele. The difference from Minach to Romele is only 16 seconds, and Arnold is 8 seconds behind Romele. So there is a good fight from places 4 forward also, Minach, Rosiek, Romele, Arnold, and then followed by Debois and Thomas. So that is a situation when men has been skiing for 2.5 kilometers and women 4 kilometers. Now Kretsch are approaching halfway, 6 kilometers. And when we look at the time that she has been using, yesterday middle distance race real time for Kendall Kretsch was 14:06, and today at 4 kilometers the time was a little bit over that. So you have to start easier and easier. And now Kretsch coming already to 6 kilometers. Leading by 18 seconds ahead of Birgit Skarstein and 26 seconds ahead of Andrea Eskau at 4 kilometers. And excellent turn here at the stadium, and continuing, keeping the pace, although sliding there and taking her place back on the track, and then coming to 6 kilometers. Kretsch was second behind Oksana Masters yesterday in middle distance race. Masters not competing today, still resting her elbow after the surgery. And competing then the shorter races. Kretsch now at 6 kilometers, 21:51 is her time. Totally, she has been out on a course for 23 minutes so far. So it means that the winning time will be there. Approximately 42, 43 minutes today if she continues with the same pace. Callum Dubois from Great Britain approaching 5 kilometers intermediate place, and also Steve Arnold and Stephen Thomas Bridge. Three Brits are approaching here the stadium area. Dubois first man out and still keeping the pace so that he is first here coming to the intermediate place. And Andrea Eskau approaching also 6 kilometers, so halfway in women's race. But first we have here Callum Dubois from Great Britain, been out on a course for 20 minutes so far. His percentage is 100, so it's easy to see what will be his time in today's race. And now at 5 kilometers he has used a little bit over 20 minutes, so if Dubois continues with the same pace, he will be out today for 1 hour on this 15k race. Hopefully he can a little bit increase the pace throughout the last laps. But what is the difference between the bridge when Steve Arnold is next to come to 5 kilometers? Arnold here, difference between Arnold and Dubois was a little bit over 40 seconds at 2.5 kilometers, and now Arnold takes the lead by 1 minute 27 seconds ahead of Dubois. And then Andrea Eskau approaching 6 kilometers, halfway. How is it with the difference between Kretsch and Eskau? It was 26 seconds at 4 kilometers, and now at 6 kilometers, difference between these two women is 41.5 seconds. So it looks to be so that Kendall Kretsch is gliding away from Andrea Eskau and Birgit Skarstein. We wait to see Skarstein here. She is turning towards the intermediate place, is there very soon. And what is the situation with Skarstein and Eskau? That is very interesting. Stephen Thomas goes on the third place, and difference between Dubois and Thomas is only 14 seconds, though they have a good fight between Callum Dubois and Stephen Thomas. And then Camille Rosiek, Giuseppe Romele, Scott Mina approaching there also. Birgit Skarstein at 6 kilometers, and now Skarstein is on a second place, and the difference is 11 seconds between Skarstein and Eskau and 30 seconds to Kendall Kretsch. So at the moment it looks to be so, as I said, the Kendall Kretsch gliding away from Skarstein and Eskau, and they have having a good fight about the second place. But still, 6 kilometers to ski, everything can happen. Camille Rosiek taking the lead. In men's race, Steve Arnold is 50 seconds behind Rosiek, and now interesting to see when Scott Mina and Giuseppe Romele are approaching that place. There was a good fight between these three men, places 4 to 6, and now Mina here at 5 kilometers. Romele going on a second place, 15 seconds behind the Rosiek, and then Mina taking the lead. Only 5 seconds, 4.6 seconds ahead of Rosiek, so very, very tight between Mina and Rosiek. And then we have trio, Kravchuk, Fleig, Knossen approaching here already, and soon Knossen has catch up Kravchuk. But we have to remember the percentages when Knossen is 100 and Kravchuk 93 and Fleig 95. So still interesting race ahead of us. First Kravchuk, then Knossen and Fleig at 5 kilometers in that order. And the situation was so that Knossen looks to be gliding away from Fleig and Kravchuk at that way, but it's very tight between Fleig and Kravchuk about the second place. First Ukrainian to 5 kilometers, and as you saw already, Daniel Knossen there straight behind him. Kravchuk takes the lead, but Knossen, of course, coming after him, taking the lead from the Ukrainian. 16:07 is the leading time, and Kravchuk 39 seconds behind USA skier, and then Martin Fleig. And now Martin Fleig goes on a second place, 20 seconds behind Knossen, so only 1.42 seconds more than after 2 kilometers. So it looks very good for the German skier, and if Fleig continues that way, it can be possible still to catch up Knossen, but it looks very good for Knossen. Women at 6 kilometers and standing there at 5 kilometers. Knossen, Fleig, Kravchuk in a fight for the podium places, and then this good fight between Mina, Rosiek, Romele about the places 4, 5 and 6. And then we have Meni-Marie Merle passing 6 kilometers, and also Rachel Morris from Great Britain here at the halfway on the stadium area. And soon Rachel at 6 kilometers, being out on a course now for half an hour. So that means that this long race will take a little bit over 1 hour for her. And we could everybody go and try this. It's not so easy. It's very, very tough, and these women and men are showing how it is to be done here in Östersund. And although it looks quite flat here at the stadium area, the track is demanding almost 50 meters climb on each lap. And already we have here Kendall Kretsch at 8 kilometers. Here first Rachel Morris coming to 6 kilometers, and time for her will be, when she passes it, 27:44, 1 minute ahead of young German Meri-Marie Menje. And then Kendall Kretsch at 8 kilometers. Soon has now been out on a course for half an hour. 6 kilometers is so that Kretsch leading Skarnstein by half a minute, and now she already at 8 kilometers. Kretsch lapping here, and 2 more rounds to go. 29:13.8 is the time to beat. And then it takes a small while before we have Birgit Skarnstein and Andrea Eskau here at the stadium area. And soon men are coming also to 7.5 kilometers. Knossen is leading, and interesting to see now what will happen on this second third of the race when they come then to the 10 kilometers. That tells us quite a lot about the race then later on. Andrea Eskau from Germany approaching here, 8 kilometers intermediate place. Kendall Kretsch leading with the time 29:13. The difference between Kretsch and Eskau was 40 seconds, but Skarnstein Eskau, it's only 11.5 seconds between these two competitors. It's always tough fight on a track, but outside of the tracks, these are best mates there at the races, and often seen when they are at the finish. After the competition, it's just laughing and good feeling after the competition. But now when these women are on a track, it's very tough between them. And also Skarnstein broaching there. This intermediate play is and Eskau and Skarnstein, it's good to follow them racing. The percentages between the women, it's exactly the same, So at the moment it looks to so that Skarnstein is now increasing the pace, so she has catch up Eskau quite a lot during this fourth loop, and coming to 8 kilometers almost together are these two competitors. Eskau turning first, and only maybe 50 meters behind Eskau comes already Birgit Skarnstein, and the difference between Skretch and Skarnstein was 30 seconds at 6 kilometers. And men are coming at the same time to 7.5 kilometers. Callum Debois, Steve Arnold and Kamil Rosiek at the stadium area. Andrea Eskau first to 8 kilometers. And the gap between Kretsch and Eskau is getting bigger and bigger. Now it's already 1 minute 24 seconds, and then comes Skarnstein and takes her place there between these women, so goes on a second place. But the difference to Kendall Kretsch is now 40 seconds, exactly 39.9 seconds. So it looks to be so that Kendall Kretsch is just gliding away, and now during this fourth lap, Skarnstein is leaving Eskau more and more behind her. So it looks to be Kretsch, Skarnstein, Eskau at the moment, the order in women's race. Men, then in a halfway place, Callum Debois leading at the moment, 34.6, and Steve Arnold, who is with a good fight there on a 7th place. Arnold now takes the lead, of course, but then we wait to see Rosiek after him. Rosiek, who is on a fight for the 4th place. Difference between him and Mina was only 5 seconds at 5 kilometers, and Rosiek takes the lead, 27.05. And Mina is here at the stadium together with Stephen Thomas. Two Brits here side by side, turning to the intermediate place, to the halfway. Very tight here, but still they managed to do it well, both Brits. Mina knows the situation, that Rosiek is there in front of him, and the fight for the 4th place is on. Knossen here at the stadium also together with Giuseppe Romele. And then we have Kravchuk and Fleig approaching also the halfway place in this race. Mina and Rosiek, what is the situation? What is the difference between these two men? And it's very tight. Mina goes on a 2nd place, 3 seconds behind Rosiek. So it was other way round at 5 kilometers. Now Rosiek leading, but we have then the top 3 on Knossen, Fleig and Kravchuk still to come there to the 7.5 kilometers. First Knossen, of course, taking the lead, followed by Stephen Thomas and Giuseppe Romele here. Romele goes on the 4th place at the moment, and stays there. The difference is quite big to Steve Arnold, and also Scott Mina already 20 seconds ahead of him. And then Fleig and Kravchuk, and then we have all men at 7.5 kilometers. And it looks to be so that the difference is just getting bigger and bigger all the way. Fleig goes now on the 2nd place, 18.2 seconds behind. So it was 20.6 at 5 kilometers. So it looks still good for German. Kravchuk 50 seconds behind Knossen. So at the moment it looks to be so that Knossen and Fleig fighting for podium place number 1 in today's race, followed by Kravchuk, and then Rosiek, Mina in a fight for the 4th place. Difference between the men is only 3 seconds. Romele 6th, and then Arnold, Debois and Thomas places 7 to 9. Kendall Kretsch already here at the stadium, approaching 10 kilometers, so she's going out on a final lap. and Merle-Marie Menje coming to 8 kilometers. 8 kilometers where Kretsch is leading by 40 seconds ahead of Birgit Skarnstein, and then there is a 40 seconds difference between Skarnstein and Eskau. And now Kendall Kretsch already turning here at the stadium to the last loop, and then Rachel Morris and Merle-Marie Menje approaching 8 kilometers, so they still have 2 loops to ski in this tough race, long distance race, the marathon race for the SIT skiers. Kendall Kretsch been out on a course now 39 minutes, and calculated time at the 10 kilometers is 36:40. And of course taking the lead, and then we wait for a small while before we have Skarnstein and Eskau here at the stadium and at 10 kilometers. And men are now on their 4th loop also, and then approaching soon 10 kilometers intermediate place. And then there the question is, can Martin Fleig catch up Daniel Knossen on this second half of the race, and what will be fight between Rosiek and Mina, how it will go on this second half. Rosiek now 3 seconds ahead of Mina on a 4th place. Merle-Marie Menje at 8 kilometers, and Rachel Morris turning here at the stadium also to 8 kilometers intermediate race. Menje 38:51, and she's been out on a course now for 42 minutes, and 4 kilometers still to ski, so a little bit over 1 hour it will take from her. And then Rachel Morris pushing also here strongly ahead in this wind and snowfall, coming to 8 kilometers, and then we're waiting for men to arrive to 10k. Morris soon at 8, and also to 10 Birgit Skarnstein and Eskau, and Skarnstein already left Eskau behind her, starting 1 minute later than Eskau. So here you can see the difference between Skarnstein and Eskau is 1 minute and a couple of seconds at the moment. But what is the difference from Kendall Kretsch to Birgit Skarnstein when they are going out to the last 2 kilometer loop? And here you can also see how these sledges has improved during the years. They are very light and very stable, and the athletes are just keeping the balance on the sledges so that they can be as fast as possible. Here Birgit Skarnstein, and straight after her Andrea Eskau, 2 very strong competitors, now coming to 10 kilometers and 1 more round to ski. 1 more 2 kilometers loop for them to go, and time is ticking, so that Kendall Kretsch leading time is 36:40.8. Difference between Kretsch and Skarnstein was at 8 kilometers 40 seconds, and it's a little bit more than that at 10 kilometers. It's almost 1 minute at the moment, difference between the USA and the Norwegian skier. Skarnstein Eskau to 10 kilometers. And as you can see from Skarnstein's face here at the stadium, when you can see her passing it, it's not anymore so easy. Wind is blowing, snow is falling, and you have been skiing for 10 kilometers and 2 to ski still. Skarnstein takes the second place, of course, 51 seconds behind Kendall Kretsch. And then 1 minute later, 1:53 is the difference between Kretsch and Eskau. So that's the order in women's race. Men approaching also 10 kilometers, but they have 2 loops to go and 5 kilometers more to ski. Kamil Rosiek will be first here and at the stadium area, women at 10 kilometers, as I said, Kretsch, Skarnstein, Eskau, and the differences between the women is quite big already. And then Rosiek, Arnold, Debois, Knossen approaching 10 kilometers in men's race. And now it's interesting to see Knossen and Fleig. How is that difference changing? It was 18 seconds at 7.5 kilometers. And also, what is the difference between Rosiek and Mina? Rosiek here first to come to 10 kilometers. Polish skier from Wieliczka. And he knows the situation, can a little bit see here at the stadium area how close is Mina and what is the difference between the men. Percentages between the men is exactly the same. So here at the stadium you can a little bit see that when they are meeting each other at the cap is quite same as it was earlier. Knossen will be next here at 10 kilometers. Rosiek takes the lead, of course, 36:17.7. But Daniel Knossen already here coming next to 10 kilometers. And it looks to be so that although Knossen starting as a last man, he will be first to finish today. And soon we are going to have the first to finish also. Kendall Kretsch approaching finish in women's race. Knossen taking the lead by 3 minutes 33 seconds ahead of Kamil Rosiek. And Martin Fleig here at the stadium turning and Brits Arnold there. Steve Arnold passing there 6:14 behind Knossen. And then number 17, Scott Mina approaching there. And now it's interesting to see situation between the gap between Rosiek and Mina. And it looks to be that the Rosiek has increased the pace. It's 13 seconds between Rosiek and Mina at the moment. And Fleig and Kravchuk coming. But we have Kendall Kretsch approaching finish. Women sit skiers long distance race. And she is the winner today. Difference between Kretsch and Skarnstein was so big when they went out on the last loop that congratulations to Kendall Kretsch winning this first long distance race this season 2018-2019. Winning time for Kendall Kretsch is 43:37. And the real time was 46 minutes today she used on these 12 kilometers. Martin Fleig goes on a second place at the same time in men's race at 10 kilometers, where we have now Vasil Kravchuk approaching. Difference between Knossen and Fleig is 23.5 seconds when they have 5 kilometers to ski. So now Knossen has increased his pace, and the difference is bigger that it was at 7.5 kilometers. Kravchuk 1:19 behind Knossen, taking a third place, and Romele goes on a sixth place, and he is 24 seconds behind Mina. And then we have here Stephen Thomas, and then we have all men past this intermediate place. Thomas pushing in the wind and snowfall here in this tough 15k race. 10 kilometers behind him and 5 more to ski. He has been out on a course now for 42.5 minutes. So situation at the 10 kilometers in men's race is that Knossen leading, Fleig 23 seconds behind, Kravchuk, Rosiek, Mina, Romele, Arnold and Thomas, and also Callum Debois is there in that same group. Difference between Debois and Thomas was a half a minute, 40 seconds at 7.5 kilometers, so Debois' intermediate time is there, approximately 9 minutes behind leading Knossen. Women are on their last loop, men skiing the second last. Soon we're waiting them then to 12.5 kilometers. And then we're waiting for Menje and Morris to 10 kilometers. And then, of course, Skarnstein and Eskau to finish today's long distance race. Here, Meremali Menje, young German, approaching 10 kilometers. So one more loop for her to ski. And behind her comes Birgit Skarnstein from Norway, World Cup leader with 340 points. And today she is getting 80 points more with the second place. Kendall Kretsch taking 100 points. So getting closer. Kretsch had 210 points after the first 4 competitions. Kretsch didn't compete the first race in Vuokatti, which was the middle distance race, but after that Kretsch has been second, fourth and second, and today Kretsch will be number 1, just ahead of Birgit Skarnstein, the World Cup leader from Norway. Skarnstein have now the last 100 meters to ski. This tough 12 kilometers race is soon behind her. And tomorrow's rest day is good to have before we continue here in Östersund with the biathlon races. Skarnstein's been out in a real time, 48 minutes here, and the calculated time for her will be today at the finish 44 and 40. 1 minute and 3 seconds behind Kendall Kretsch. And then Andrea Eskau from Germany coming there next and taking the third place in today's race behind Kendall Kretsch and Birgit Skarnstein. Also, she's been out there for 49 minutes today out on a course, and calculated time for her is 46:02. 2 minutes 25 seconds behind today's winner, Kendall Kretsch. Menje and Morris here at 10 kilometers. At the same time, we had the top 3 at the finish. They have still 2 kilometers to ski. Menje's time at 10 kilometers is 49:01, and now Rachel Morris soon there at 10 kilometers. Men approaching 12.5 kilometers, and Daniel Knossen, and straight after him there behind is Kamil Rosiek. Rosiek is there now getting some help from Knossen there on the stadium area. Knossen, who is leading from start to 10 kilometers, leading all the way, and it looks to be that Knossen is gliding towards the victory also today. Only the sprint competition in Vuokatti, he was third behind Colin Cameron. And in that race. Taras Rad was second, and now Knossen and there behind him Kamil Rosiek. Rosiek, who is in a fight with Scott Mina about the fourth place, and if Rosiek continues to be there behind Knossen, it looks very good for him for the fourth place in today's race. Men at 12.5 kilometers, one more round to go. 2.5 kilometers. Knossen, of course, taking the lead. 41.33, 23.8, and Rosiek on the second place, but the difference is 4 minutes, and he is fighting for the fourth place. Martin Fleig, Scott Mina, two men who are fighting against these two men, Knossen and Fleig. Fleig fighting against Knossen, and Mina fighting against Rosiek in today's race, and now Mina could take some effort also. They're trying to catch up and staying on there behind Martin Fleig and getting some help with that draw. Martin Fleig knows that the sit cap was 23 seconds when they were here last time at 10 kilometers and the last 2.5 kilometers starting. Who has the most strength left throughout the last 2.5 kilometers? That will be seen in the next 7-8 minutes. And also we have here Steve Arnold approaching 12.5 kilometers and Callum Desbois and Vasil Kravchuk. But first, Martin Fleig to 12.5 kilometers. And the difference between Knossen and Fleig, it's 20 seconds, a little bit over 20 seconds. It was 23.5 at 10 kilometers, and now it's 21.6 seconds difference between Knossen and Fleig. And then Rosiek Mina, and difference between them is 41 seconds. So it looks to be so that Rosiek is going to take the fourth place just ahead of Scott Mina. Then next one here is Steve Arnold passing 12.5 kilometers. Arnold 49.24, currently on the fifth place. And then Vasil Kravchuk. Kravchuk, who is quite stable there on the third place, turning here at the stadium towards the intermediate place together with Callum Desbois. First Desbois and then Kravchuk. And then also Giuseppe Romele from Italy. Romele quite stable there on the sixth place, but if he has strength here, difference between Mina and Romele was only 24 seconds, so that can be catch up during the last kilometers. If he has strength left, Kravchuk takes the third place behind Knossen and Fleig, 1:40 behind, leading Knossen. Again, 20 seconds more the difference from Knossen to Kravchuk. So they are keeping the same pace all the time, and the differences between the athletes are quite stable at the moment. Then Romele, and can he catch up with Mina? At the moment it looks to be so that Mina keeps his fifth place, and difference to Romele is at the moment when he's passing this intermediate place 19 seconds. So it's a little bit smaller than it was 2.5 kilometers ago. 19 seconds is difference between Scott Mina and Giuseppe Romele. So there is a small possibility for Romele to catch up Mina. Knossen, Fleig, Kravchuk, Rosiek, Mina, Romele, top 6, followed then by Steve Arnold, Stephen Thomas and Callum Desbois in that order. And men are now out on the last loop, last 2.5 kilometers to ski, and so are also on the last loop Rachel Morris and Merle Marie Meunier in women's race. Stephen Thomas here to 12.5 kilometers, and his last loop starting. So tough 2.5 kilometers ahead of him. Also, it's been snowing all the time during this day, and it's continued to snow whole day. Interesting to see, is it going to affect on the standing skiers and visually impaired race today? I believe not, although there is a little bit new snow on the track, and that can be a little bit demanding for visually impaired. But we'll see. Competition for visually impaired and standing skiers for women will start today at 11:30 local time, and for men 12:30. Stephen Thomas at 12.5 kilometers, 53:43 is his intermediate time, being out on a course at that same time. So it will be 1 hour and 8 minutes total time for him today out on a course. Next one we are waiting here are in women's race. Meri-Mari Menje and Rachel Morris, they've been out on a course for 1 hour. So it's been a tough race, and if I'm seeing right, Menje approaching the finish there, coming from the bridge towards the stadium area. And remember, she is only 14 years old, a young athlete in her beginning of this para-Nordic athlete career. And if she continues like this in one day, she can be one of those who are on the podium. Kendall Kretsch, Birgit Skarnstein, Andrea Eskau are the three best today. And Menje will be today. When we're looking the situation between Morris and Menje, Morris has been a little bit faster than Menje throughout the race today, so she will be fifth in this tough long distance race here in Ostersund. Menje been out on a course totally today 1 hour and 2 minutes, and when we calculate there then her final time, that will be a little bit 1 hour, but a tough race. 12 kilometers for this German skier is now behind. Congratulations, good race for Meri-Mari Menje from Germany. 58:23 is her final time, and the real time was 1 hour 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And then Daniel Knossen from USA approaching finish together with Rachel Morris from Great Britain. Rachel finishing her 12 kilometers race, and Knossen 15 kilometers for sit skiers men, and he knows that it's a good fight between him and Martin Fleig, but I believe it's going to be enough in today's race for the USA skier to take this season's fourth victory in World Cup here in Östersund. Daniel Knossen, USA, Danny Boy, winning, and the final time for Knossen 49:36.3. What a race! Good pace from start to finish. Knossen winning, and then also Rachel Morris here finishing today. Rachel 55:56.4, and the fourth place for Brit skier, and real time for Rachel was 1 hour and 3 minutes, so a tough race for her. Kamil Rosiek approaching finish, the Polish skier, and he's going to be fourth today. Knossen, Fleig, Kravchuk are faster than him, but he's been fastest of this second group. Rosiek, Mina, Romele. So Rosiek taking the fourth place, and that is the best place for him in World Cup so far this season. Congratulations, Kamil. Good race. 54:27 is final time for Kamil Rosiek. And then Martin Fleig, and he has the last 300 meters to come to finish, and time is ticking so that the difference between him and Daniel Knossen was 20 seconds 2.5 kilometers ago, and it will be so also in the finish that Flyg will be taking the second place in this tough long distance race here in Östersund. And after Flyg, Scott Mina approaching also, and we know that it's a good fight between Mina and Romele about the 5th place. So Mina should push up so much as he can here in the last meters. First Martin Flyg from German taking the second place behind Daniel Knossen in today's race. Knossen winning by half a minute. This German, it was a good fight between Daniel Knossen and Martin Flyg. 50, 10.6, 34.3 seconds behind Knossen. Martin Flyg takes the second place in today's World Cup race here in Östersund. And then Scott Mina, he is tired, but it's been a long and tough race, and he knows, as I said, Giuseppe Romele approaching here, also soon finish. And it's been tight. Romele is catching up Mina on these last kilometers, but is it the difference so much that Mina stays on a 5th place behind Rosiek? Takes of course now the 4th place at the finish. 55:23.7 is the time for Scott Mina, and then we have Steve Arnold and Vasil Kravchuk next to come. Arnold, who is going to be 7th today in today's race, and then Kravchuk, who is going to be on a podium 3rd today as he was yesterday behind Daniel Knossen and Aaron Pike. First, Steve Arnold from Great Britain, man who loves football and follows it very well, much comes here and finishing currently on a 5th place. Little bit under 1 hour he's been out on a course, and the time is 59:15.6. And then Vasil Kravchuk from Ukraine taking the 3rd place today, 1 minute 56 seconds behind Daniel Knossen. Knossen, Flyg, Kravchuk is the top 3, and then Rosiek, Mina, Arnold, and then Romele, Debois next to finish. Debois here first, and then comes the Italian as fast as he can. He knows that it's maybe possible to catch up Scott Mina, but we have to see these last 200 meters still to come. Italian is coming as fast as he can, he knows it. And here first the young Brit skier Callum Debois being out on a course for 1 hour and 2 minutes now. So very good at strong skiing from him, and you can see that he is tired, but he has given everything on the course here in Östersund, finishing here today on a 8th place, currently on a 7th place, 8th or 9th today. And then Giuseppe Romele from Italy. And now we can see and follow what's the situation between Romele and Mina. It's very tight, Mina time goes right there. So that was the difference between Mina and Romele. If we look the right, and he takes the 6th place, only 10 seconds behind Scott Mina. So very close was it. But today, Camille Rosiek 4th, Scott Mina 6th, and Giuseppe Romele from Italy is 7th. And then Steve Arnold, Callum Debois, and Stephen Thomas still on a course, soon coming to finish. And we have here now 15 minutes before women standing skiers are starting their race, 13.2 kilometers. And here we could see the results from women's and men's race. Officer results from women's race. Kendall Kretsch for USA winning today 43:37. Birgit Skarnstein from Norway 1 minute 3 seconds, and behind her on the 2nd place Andrea Eska from Germany 3rd, Rachel Morris 4th, and Merle Marie Menje from Germany today 5th. And the flowering ceremony here at the stadium area will be very soon, also at 11:30. At the same time, when the start of the standing skiers will be going on. So standing skiers are getting ready here at the stadium area, warming up for their race. And now, of course, this snowfall has made the track even harder than it is. Women are skiing 3 times 4.4 kilometers, so that means 13.2 kilometers. And Vilde Nielsen is favorite number 1. Vilde has won all 4 competitions on this season, but Alexandra Kononova is very good when we are now skating. So interesting to see what will be the difference between these women. It was very tight already in Finland with the short distance race when it was skate, and also when we look at the biathlon races from Finland in Vuokatti, where we started the season in December. Kononova won all 3 races, and Nielsen was second in two of them. So I believe in women standing race we are going to see very tough fight between Kononova and Nielsen, and also Lyashenko Patenkova Bauman can have her own voice to say there in that fight. But now first, Stephen Thomas from Great Britain pushing out the last meters of his race along 15 kilometers behind, and still has the strength to push the last meters as hard as he can. Been out on a course for 1 hour and 4 minutes. So a tough race behind him. And for Arnold, that is... for Thomas, that is also his accurate time when the percentage is exactly 100 for him. So a tough 15 kilometers race behind Stephen Thomas from Great Britain. It's going to be 9th today, few minutes behind Callum Desbois. And he knows that from step by step he can close up the landmates and also the top athletes in this sit skiers competition. Gnossen, Flaik, Kravchuk, Rosiek, Mina, Romele, Arnold Desbois, and now Thomas finishing this tough race here in Östersund, 15 kilometers. Sit skiers, and time for Thomas 1 hour 5 minutes and 32 seconds. So, sit skiers has completed their races. Gretsch and Gnossen winners today. And the official results from men's race: Daniel Kosen, Martin Flaik, Vasil Kravchuk. Like we a little bit saw before, are on the places 1 to 3. Kamil Rosiek 4th, Scott Minak 5th, and Giuseppe Romele 6th, just ahead of the bridge Arnold Desbois and Thomas. So now we have here a 12 minutes break and 11 minutes break before the competitions continue. Here in Östersund, women standing skiers are starting their race at 11:29 when Grace Miller from USA will be first out on the course. And as I said, women are skiing 4.4 kilometers course and 3 times that. Also visually impaired women starting their race straight after standing skiers. Adriana Kapuste from Ukraine will be first out at 11:37. Now we have a small break here from announcer booth, and we come back on voice in 5 minutes. And now we are getting ready for the next competition here in Östersund when the Paranordic Skiing World Cup continues with the standing skiers women and visually impaired women race. And we are also going to have the flowering ceremony for the sit skiers here, maybe at the same time or after the women are started. Women are starting in a few minutes, and it takes 10 minutes. Then we have all women on a course, and then we should have the flowering ceremony for sit skiers. Flower ceremony will start at 11:40 for sit skiers. So in 13 minutes we'll having the flowering ceremony. My name is Mikko Reitti. It's nice to be here in Östersund, and hopefully you are enjoying also your time there in home sofas all around the world following these IPC races here from Östersund. It's a little bit windy and snowy, as you can see here and feel here in the stadium, and also see it on the feed here from competition center. Light snow, temperature -4 degrees. Wind is 5 meters per second, and now it's been packing this new snow on the track, and in the turns it can be a little bit demanding, at least for the visually impaired skiers and also those skiers who are skiing with the prosthetics. So now we'll see what will be happening here today. Hopefully everything goes well when women are starting race, when a young Grace Miller from USA is first to go out on a women's course, which is 4.4 kilometers, and they are skiing it 3 times. So that way it's 13.2 kilometers today's race, which is normally 15 kilometers. But here in Östersund, because of the last week's weather, the snow conditions are not like they were planned to be. The course is today for women 13.2 kilometers, and later today in the afternoon for men 17.6 kilometers. Grace Miller, USA skier, out on a course and up on the first uphill, and she is then followed by the young Swede Louise Perottosdotter from Sweden, and Lima is next to start, and Louise has now a few seconds before her starting time is, and it goes there, so Louise can start her race immediately. She gets the sticks on her, and then Ivetta Farron starting her competition here in Östersund in a few seconds also. So Perottosdotter a little bit late here at the starting place, but getting ready, and of course it's still a long competition ahead of her, 13.2 kilometers. And then Ivetta Farron from Poland didn't compete yesterday. Young 19 years old skier from Poland. Best result from this season is from Vuokatti from biathlon competition, when she was once third. Otherwise, the competitions have been so that Farron has been there among top 12 places, and now Farron starting there together with Ingemarsdotter starting her race also. Then we have after Farron, which this skate is much more better than the classic. We have 4 tough Ukrainians starting their race. Bodana Konachuk, Alexandra Kodunova, Yulia Patenkova-Bauman, and Lyudmila Lyashenko. Youngest of them is Konachuk, 20 years old, yesterday's 5th from Lutsk, starting as 4th woman. A 3rd woman today is on the course, and also for her, this skate is a little bit better than the classic. Konachuk getting ready. Yesterday she was 5th. Only Nielsen, Patenkova, Bauman, Kononova, and Lyashenko were faster than she, and now she's going out. And this skate can be quite different than we had yesterday's middle distance classic race. Although this wind here at the stadium area can affect quite a lot in today's race, and also the snowfall, which has packed the snow there on a few corners of today's race. Bonana Konachuk climbing up the first uphill, and then one of the favorites for today's race, Alexandra Kononova from Ukraine. This year, 3 times third and fifth in Vuokatti sprint, but remarkable is that she won all 3 races in Vuokatti in biathlon. So this skating is much more better for her than is the classic style. Lives in Bravary in Ukraine and goes out, and as you can see, it's very strong, her skating, and is of course one of the favorite. Yesterday's third is eager to fight of victory together with Vilde Nielsen, who has won all 4 races so far, and Nielsen starting today 3 minutes after Kononova. But before Nielsen, we have 2 more Ukrainians. Yulia Patenkova-Bauman was second yesterday, lives in Kiev, and many years already competing in a good level in the World Cup. And this season, second, sixth, didn't compete the sprint in Vuokatti, and yesterday middle distance race second place after Vilde Nielsen. So she is eager to climb back on the podium also today, Yulia Patenkova-Bauman. Patenkova-Bauman climbing the first uphill, and information for the sit skiers. The flowering ceremony will be straight after the women visually impaired are started here, so at 11:40. In 6 minutes we are going to have your flowering ceremony here at the stadium area. And now at the starting place, Lyudmila Lyashenko from Ukraine. Lyashenko was 4th yesterday, half a minute behind Kononova. And today it's the new day, windy and snowy day here in Östersund, when women are starting their long distance race, 13.2 kilometers. Demanding track, which have quite many sharp turns. You have seen those in many broadcasts here from Östersund when you have probably followed the World Cup in biathlon from here, and later this year, in the beginning of March, the World Championships in biathlon will be held here in Östersund. But now the top athletes, para-athletes, are here and fighting for the World Cup points. And in a few years, we are going to have the World Championships here in Östersund. And then, unbeatable Vilde Nielsen so far this season. 4 competitions and 4 victories. As this Tromsø girl made 18 years. She had the birthday yesterday, and today she continues to chase and be in the podium, and she is one to beat in today's race. Starting there, and I believe it's going to be Vilde Nielsen against the Ukrainians in today's race. And how it's going to be, that will be seen after 3 4.4 kilometers loops. Before the race, if we look the races before, it's maybe Nielsen against Kononova. And then visually impaired women are starting also their race. Today, Adriana Kapustei, Klara Gluk, Oksana Shushkova and Karina Edlinger are competing. Yesterday's race, Edlinger won, Shushkova was second. And nice to have also today Gluk and Kapustei competing. Kapustei started her season in December in Vuokatti. She is only 16 years old, young athlete from Mukachevo from Ukraine. And there she goes out And we are getting ready also for the flowering ceremony. After we have Karakluk, Oksana Shuskova and Karina Edlinger starting their race in 3 minutes, the flower ceremony for sit skiers. Kapustei guided by Nazar Stefurak, first out on a course, and this might be quite demanding course for the visually impaired because there are sharp turns. Klara Glug and her guide Martin Hartl are next to go out on a course. 24 years young athlete from Munich. In Vuokatti, she only competed in biathlon, was number one in the first ever chase start or must start race. There competed and 2 times second behind Shuskova. So interesting race, and now Gluck starting her race. And then maybe the favorites are after her, Shuskova and Edlinger. And now Klara Gluck, Martin Hartel out on a course. And this skating is better style for Glug, which also is a good start for this cross-country season for her. And then Oksana Shuskova, Vitali Kasagov as her guide, next to start yesterday's second behind Karina Edlinger, but this skating is much more better for her. It was very tight in Vuokatti, and Shuskova won the only skate race there, which was the short distance race ahead of Edlinger. Otherwise, the Edlinger was number one in Vuokatti in those 2 races. And also yesterday Edlinger was faster when we had classic middle distance race here in Östersund. But now Oksana Shuskova, Vitali Kasagov going out on their competition, and then we have 1 warm moment to start. World Cup leader with 380 points, 40 points ahead of Oksana Shuskova, Karina Edlinger and Florian Seindwald as her guide are getting ready. Windy, snowy conditions here in Östersund. Edlinger starting her race in a few seconds. Lives here in Östersund, so she knows the tracks quite well. Although yesterday's track wasn't the track she's been skiing here many times, but maybe this track is, so she a little bit knows how the curves are going. And there Edlinger and guide Florian Seindwall starting the race, and on the paper it's a little bit fight between Edlinger, Shuskova and Gluck in today's race. And then we are getting ready for the flowering ceremony for the sit skiers. Flowering ceremony for the sit skiers here at the stadium area after the long distance competition. And we start with the women 12 kilometers. Everything is ready for the flower ceremony. World Paranordic Skiing and Women Sit Skiers long distance competition. Winner today, Kendall Crutch, USA. Winning time today, 43:37. Second today, Birgit Skarnstein, Norway. Norge 44:40. 1 minute 8 seconds behind today's winner. And third today, Andrea Eskau from Germany. 46:02.5. Difference between the Crutch and Eskau, 2 minutes 36.5 seconds. Top 3 today here, Kendall Crutch, Birgit Skarnstein, Andrea Eskau. Although it's snowing and windy here and competitors has been waiting for this flowering ceremony, they are still smiling, always so happy athletes here in para competitions. Here we had top 3 in women's race, and we continue the flowering ceremony then with the men's race. Favorite was number 1 also today, men middle long distance competition for sit skiers for Nordic Para Skiing World Cup here in Östersund. Winner Daniel Knossen, USA. Second today, Martin Fleig, Germany. Difference between Knossen and Fleig today, 36.2 seconds. And third today as yesterday, Vasil Kravchuk, Ukraine. 2 minutes 4 seconds behind today's winner, Daniel Knossen. Here we have the top 3 of men's race sit skiers. 15 kilometers here in Östersund today. Daniel Knossen, Martin Fleig and Vasil Kravchuk. Tomorrow will be a rest day for them, and then on Tuesday they will be competing again with a biathlon race in the evening starting at 4 o'clock local time here in Östersund. So next time you are seeing these men in action is on Tuesday when the biathlon race for sit skiers, men 7.5 kilometers, women 6 kilometers is ahead of them. And now competition is on. We have standing skiers, women and visually impaired women on a course. 4.4 kilometers is the length of the track, and they are skiing it 3 times. And later today, men will start their race at 12:30, and men will be skiing this track by then 4 times. That means that men's competition will be 17.6 kilometers. And here from stadium you can see the first skiers are here at the close to stadium area. They are still skiing the last loop to Akkura, Hotel Akkura, and then coming back to the stadium. Their first skiers gliding down and then heading back to the stadium area. Grace Miller went out first, and there we can see her climbing the last uphill and soon gliding down to stadium. Grace is turning there, and she is followed already by Iveta Faron, the Polish skier who started 2 minutes later than Miller. First, Grace Miller from USA, here gliding to the stadium area, and then Faron, Konachuk, Kononova already approaching the stadium area, and then also soon the Swede Louise Perottosdotter. And women, as I said, are skiing 3 times this 4.4 kilometer long course. They have been now used. Miller 17.5 minutes, and then Kononova next to arrive 14.5 minutes on a 1 round. So approximately 45 minutes, a little bit under, will be time that they used in today's race. First Miller, then Bui, Kononova, Konachuk are here at the stadium area, and soon at the 4.4 kilometers intermediate place. And as we here thought a little bit before the competition, it might be a fight between Alexandra Kononova competing with the competition number 34, and then Vilde Nielsen starting 3 minutes later than Kononova. Competition number 37. First at 4.4 kilometers, young 19 years old skier from USA, Grace Miller, 17:51, and then Iveta Faron passing it there. Faron is 1:49 faster, but then comes already Kononova and taking the lead, of course. 14:13 is time for Kononova. And then 3 minutes later started Nielsen, so that is the interesting thing what we are following. Konachuk taking the second place, 1 minute 5 seconds behind Kononova. So at the moment, Kononova, Konachuk, Faron, Miller, 4 skiers here at 4.4 kilometers. Julia Batenkova-Baumann next approach this intermediate place here at the stadium area. Batenkova-Baumann started 1 minute later. Her percentages is a little bit lower than Kononova's. So at the moment it looks to be so that Kononova is leading and the gap to Batenkova-Baumann is approximately a little bit under half a minute here at 4.4 kilometers, but exactly we know it when she's turning here and skis a little bit further to the intermediate place. Also Lyudmila Lyashenko, yesterday's fourth, is approaching here, and she was second fastest in Finland in Vuokatti when we competed last time. Skate race, that was a short distance race. It was quite tight then in that race between Vilde Nielsen and Lyashenko. And those are now due to not come yet here to intermediate place. Difference between Nielsen and Lyashenko in Finland was only 1 second, but the competition was only 2.5 kilometers. And now today we are skiing 13.2 kilometers. Kononova leading, but Lyashenko, I was counting the difference from Lyashenko is 13 seconds and Batenkova-Baumann 27 seconds. And then Vilde Nielsen and Louise Perottosdotter here at the stadium. And Nielsen started 3 minutes after Kononova. And the percentages are so that Kononova 97 and Nielsen 96. So it's going to be quite tight now at 4.4 kilometers when Vilde Nielsen is approaching that intermediate place together with Louise Perottosdotter from Sweden. Kononova leading, 14:30 is her time, and Nielsen being now out on a course 14:50. But remember, we have to count the seconds here, but it looks to be that Kononova is leading at 4.4 kilometers with the small margin. It's not many seconds, but Kononova leading, Nielsen taking the second place. Difference is 10.1 second. Kononova, Nielsen, Lyashenko, Batenkova-Baumann, Konachuk, Faron, Miller, and now Perottosdotter also at the intermediate place at 4.4 kilometers. And she is there in a time 18:56. And 1 minute behind Grace Miller, and that is that 1 minute she missed at the start today. So otherwise it could be quite tight between Miller and Perottosdotter. Kononova leads, Nielsen 10 seconds, Lyashenko 13 behind, leading Kononova. And then next we are waiting for visually impaired here at the stadium area, Kapustei, Gluck, Szyskova, Edlinger. And most interesting is there what's the difference between Szyskova and Edlinger, yesterday's number 2 and number 1. And they are now also here turning on the last curves towards the Sports Hotel Acura here beside the stadium area. and soon they are here at the stadium. Standing skiers, women already on the second loop, and now visually impaired women soon here, first time at the stadium at 4.4 kilometers. And as you can see, they are now approaching the stadium area. First visually impaired women, and it looks to be Oksana Shuskova first here at the stadium area. These last curves here, and then turning back to the stadium. Shuskova guided by Vitaly Kazakov. And here is the difference between the women, so that the Shuskova is B2 athlete, percentage 99, and then Edlinger, Gluck, Austrian and German skiers, they are B1 skiers, so 88% is their percentage. Now Kapustei and Gluck there, and Edlinger then heading towards Akkura, and then passing this arena. Here we have Shuskova and guide Kazakov turning here at the stadium area. Vitaly giving the instructions for Oksana on the course, which is quite demanding and also physical course here in Östersund when they are getting up and down during this area here beside the skiing area, and also the downhill there behind the arena is quite demanding. Then behind Shuskova, Adriana Kapustei and Kara Gluck. Nazar Stefurak working as Kapustei's guide, and then Martin Hartl with Gluck. Shuskova intermediate time is 15:28.9. And at the same time, duo Kapustei Gluck approaching also this intermediate place. And yesterday's winner, Karina Edlinger and Florian Seinwald, last turns and then the last downhill to the stadium. Kapustei Gluck together here, Kapustei and Gluck trying to find a way to pass young Ukrainian skier. Only 16 years is Andrina Kapustei old, and here they are together. Gluck takes the lead at the moment by 9 seconds ahead of Shuskova. So very, very tight is it. And now Gluck passing there Kapustei. And then we have here Karina Edlinger and Florian Seinwald turning towards the intermediate place. Guide doing very, very important work there in front, telling what kind of area, what kind of style we are going here. Is it uphill, downhill, where are we turning? And giving the instructions like Seinwald is here doing for Edlinger, and clock is ticking so that she is going to take the lead at the moment at 4.4 kilometers. When she passing that place, 49 seconds ahead of Klara Gluck is Karina Edlinger. Edlinger, Gluck, Shuskova, Kapustei is the order of these four women, and here is the difference between them. Gluck 49 seconds behind, Shuskova 58. So Edlinger is keeping an excellent pace here in today's race, and these familiar tracks, Östersund, where she lives. That is the situation at 4.4 kilometers, and then it takes a small while before we are going to have standing skiers women here at the stadium again. and then we are already at 8.8 kilometers, and they are going out to this last round. At the moment, it's quite easy here at the stadium area. Men are getting ready, warming up for their race. It will start in half an hour. 32 minutes to the start of Terry Aarons from Great Britain starting men's standing race, and visually impaired Thomas Oxdal from Norway. 42 minutes to the start of that race, and women's race is on. Conditions have been the same throughout the race. Weather here in Östersund, it's snowing. It's been snowing from early morning hours, and at the moment it looks to be that it has gathered maybe 1-2 centimeters new snow here at the stadium area. It's not so windy as it was a few days ago. It was stormy here in Östersund. There were a couple of trees falling down here at the area, and it was like a military area when all branches and so on flying here, and everything flying in that wind, which was quite heavy on Friday. But now, during this weekend, the weather has been excellent, and the competitions here excellent. First time ever, para-athletes are competing in Östersund. And next year, the World Cup season will end here with finals, and then year from that forward we are going to have the World Championships here in Östersund. So now we're getting some information from athletes, coaches, and also the organizing committee is getting information how to improve these areas suitable for the para-athletes. We have been seen here in Östersund many times top athletes in skiing and in biathlon. And of course, you all know that the Biathlon World Championships will be held here in the beginning of March in Östersund. And this week they are competing in Germany for the World Cup, but in few weeks, 3 weeks, and then the World Championships will begin here in Östersund. Now World Cup is here for para-athletes. I can see Alexandra Kononova already approaching Akkura, and the final turn there and heading then towards the stadium area. She will be first here at 8.8 kilometers. And it's quite tight competition. Kononova, Vilde Nielsen, interesting to see how it's going to be. Nielsen, who has won all 4 competitions this season. Yesterday's middle distance here in Östersund, and middle distance sprint and short distance race in Vuokatti in December. And this is the first long distance race for women also, as it was the first long distance race for men and sit skiers and women earlier today. Kononova gliding there the last curves and soon here at the stadium. Their last uphill and then gliding downhill to the stadium area, coming to 8.8 kilometers and then going out to the last round. Also Bogdana Konachuk now soon here, and then Iveta Faron, Julia Patenkova-Baumann, Limlyashenko, Vilde Nielsen soon approaching the area of Akkura Hotel, Sport Hotel here beside the stadium area. Stadium where we have now Alexandra Kononova from Ukraine. And this skate is her much more better than the classic. She won all 3 biathlon races in Vuokatti, and that tells that she is in a good skating shape. And now turning here, being out on a course for real time Kononova for 29 minutes, and as you can see here from the screen, our live feed, that is her calculated time. Percentage for Kononova is 97, and she is coming to 8.8 kilometers and giving us the time to be beaten. Next one there is Bodhana Konachuk, young Ukrainian, approaching also the stadium. Kononova at 8.8 kilometers, 28:43.3. 28:43.3 is time to beat. Vilde Nielsen been out on a course for 27 minutes soon. So that means that in 2.5 minutes we are going to have her here on stadium also, where we have now Bodhana Konachuk from Ukraine. Konachuk, who is on 5th place at 4.4 kilometers. Gap to Batenkova Bauman in front of her and Iveta Faron behind her are quite big, but we'll see what's the difference now at 8.8 kilometers when Konachuk comes there, and also Iveta Faron and Julia Batenkova Bauman are approaching this intermediate place. Batenkova Bauman, who is only few seconds behind Lyashenko on the 4th place at 4.4 kilometers. Difference was 14 seconds, and that is cap that can be catch up. Now Konachuk at 8.8 kilometers. Difference to Kononova is 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So 1 minute more than it was at 4 kilometers. So they are keeping the same pace throughout the race at the moment. Iveta Faron from Poland, 19 years old, young athlete. And also skating is for her better than the classic. Faron was 1:49 behind Kononova at 4.4 and a little bit behind Konachuk. What's the situation between Konachuk and Faron? It's so that it's getting bigger, this gap at the moment. Faron goes on a 3rd place, 3:44 behind Kononova, and 1.5 minutes behind Konachuk. Batenkova Bauman takes the 2nd place, 43 seconds behind Kononova. So it has increased with 16 seconds difference with Kononova and Batenkova Bauman from 4.4 kilometers to 8.8 kilometers. Then Ludmila Lyashenko. Lyashenko difference was 13 seconds at 4.4 kilometers, and as you can now calculate and see also from our web stream, it's bigger. It's already 35 seconds. And then Vilde Nielsen and Grace Miller are here at the stadium area, and Nielsen approaching the stadium, and then she has 150 meters to ski to the intermediate place. She has now been out on a course for 36.5 minutes. Sorry, that was Grace Miller's times. 29.5 minutes has Vilde Nielsen been out on a course, and now she's pushing up towards the intermediate place. Still 50 meters to ski. Kononova leading with the time 28:43, and here comes Norwegian, and time goes there. And that much is Vilde Nielsen behind Kononova at the moment. Difference is maybe what it will be, 10 seconds. Nielsen passing it's 17 seconds. So Kononova is at the moment gliding away from Vilde Nielsen. Is Kononova going to take the first cross-country World Cup victory this season, and Vilde Nielsen staying on the 2nd place? Still excellent skiing from young Norwegian. Situation at 8.8 kilometers in women's standing skiers World Cup race here in Östersund is so that Alexandra Kononova from Ukraine leading. Vilde Nielsen on the 2nd place, 17.1 seconds behind. Ludmila Lyashenko 3rd, 35 seconds behind Kononova. Nielsen Lyashenko difference is only 18 seconds. So it's tight there. And then Batenkova Baumann only 8 seconds behind Lyashenko, so that is even tighter to fight for the third place. And then Konachuk, Faron, Miller, differences between these athletes are so big that the places are going to stay the same when they are on the last 4.4 kilometers round. Kononova, Nielsen, Lyashenko, Batenkova Baumann, Konachuk, Faron and Miller is the order of women's race at 8.8 kilometers. And then visually impaired Oksana Shyshkova here beside the stadium area, turning towards Akura, and from there towards the stadium area. Shyshkova currently on a third place, 1 minute behind Edlinger at 4.4 kilometers. Shyshkova approaching stadium area. There's is gliding and then turning soon here to the stadium. And men, they are getting ready. Terry Ahrens has now 20 minutes to the start of the race. And Thomas Uxdal half an hour. And then men, standing skiers and visually impaired are competing for the World Cup points here in Östersund. Women are doing it right now. Oksana Shyshkova coming to 8.8 kilometers and one 4.4 kilometer round loop to ski. Also Louise Berottosdotter approaching soon here, 8.8 kilometers. But first we have here Oksana Shyshkova and Nazar Stefurak giving her the instructions how to ski. Of course, Vitaly Kasakov, Stefurak working as a guide for Adriana Kapustei. Shyshkova here at 8.8 kilometers. Intermediate place is not yet here in a turning round, but it's 100 meter forward, and then we have Shyshkova there. And then we're looking how close are Glug and then Edlinger. Edlinger started 1 minute later, but remarkable is that the percentages are for Shyshkova 99 and for Glug and Edlinger 88. Karina Glug there and her guide Martin Hartl closing the stadium area in those turns towards Akkura, and Shyshkova here at 8.8 kilometers. 30:56.2 is intermediate time for her at 8.8 kilometers. Then we have next here at the stadium area, young Swede Louise Berottosdotter from Lima. And also we can see here on stadium area approaching the arena are Kara Glück, Karina Edlinger and Adriana Kapustei. They are now heading towards Akkura, and then from there to stadium area, first Klara Glück and Martin Hartl already soon here at the stadium area, where we have Louise Berottosdotter passing the 8.8 kilometers intermediate place on 8th place in today's long distance race. And then Kara Glück and Martin Hartl, and soon after them are also coming already Karina Edlinger and Florian Seinwall, who started 2 minutes later than Germans. And here you can already see the difference between the athletes. They have the same percentage, so you can see that Edlinger is leading Glück a little bit over 1 minute, and then Kapustei young Ukrainian also approaching the stadium area. Karagluk Martin Hartel here at the stadium. 24 years old, young skier from Munich. Here, and Hartel giving her instructions where to go. All the guides have a microphone and then a small speaker there behind on the back so that the athlete can hear the instructions very well and doing the right movements. And then already here also Karina Edlinger and Florian Seinwald. They were leading this race by 50 seconds ahead of Gluck, and the gap is now more. They started 2 minutes after Gluck, and the difference is now over 1 minute between Gluck and Edlinger. But how is it with Shushkova? Gluck takes the lead 9 seconds ahead of Shushkova, and then we know that Edlinger is going to take the lead here with 1 minute marching, a little bit over 1 minute it will be when she's passing 8.8 kilometers intermediate place, and behind her coming young Ukrainian Adriana Kapustei and Nazar Stefurak, also at 8.8 kilometers. So women are skiing quite stable. Edlinger had the time 14:30 and now 29:32 at 8.8 kilometers, so same pace is she keeping throughout the race, and that means that the winning time for Edlinger, or we are waiting her here at the finish, is approximately in 16 minutes. It will take, and we have 16 minutes to the start of men's race and 25 minutes to the start of then visually impaired men's race. We have there Terry Arens, Christian Toninelli, Luka Tavatsky, 3 first starters. Edlinger leading, Gluck 1:14 behind, Shushkova 1:23. So there is a fight about the second place between German and Ukrainian skier when they have the last 4 kilometers to go on. Adriana Kapustei on a 4th place at the moment, and that will be also her place because the gap is so big to the top 3 in today's race. So it might be so that we are going to have women here on the final meters at the same time that men are starting. Men have now 15 minutes to the start of their race, and women are on their last loop. This 4.4 kilometer long round. Women are skiing it 3 times, men 4 times. So men's race will be today 17.6 kilometers. And then we have Alexandra Kononova approaching finish already in standing skiers race. And it looks to be so that Kononova is going to be number 1 today. She's been very strong throughout the race, leading from start. Difference between Kononova and Nielsen was 17 seconds at 8.8 kilometers, and Kononova pushing here. Very good race. It's not snowing anymore, and Kononova last 100 meters to skate, and she's taking the lead, of course, and I might say she's going to be number 1 today, Alexandra Kononova, Ukraine. Real time a little bit under 44 minutes, and calculated winning time 42:29.5 for her. And it was so that Vilde Nielsen started 3 minutes later So she has now maybe 4.5 minutes time to be here before being here to be take the pole position from Ukrainian, but that can be very difficult because the difference was already 17 seconds at 8.8 kilometers. And also interesting to follow, Lyashenko, Batenkova, Bauman, 8 seconds was the difference between the women at 8.8 kilometers, fight for the third place in today's race. And we can now see women turning here beside the stadium area towards Akkura and then coming back to the stadium. They are skiing the last meters. There are Konachuk, Lyashenko together, and but also Batenkova, Bauman in front of them, and then soon also Vilde Nielsen, Norwegian, approaching the stadium area here, and then we'll see what will be the difference between Kononova, Nielsen, Lyashenko, Batenkova, Bauman, Konachuk, and the final order in this very tight race. We could also say so that because the difference between first and third will be under 45 seconds. Often it could have been all over 1 minute also. Kononova leading 42:29.5, and then we have here Batenkova, Bauman first, and then Lyashenko and Konachuk approaching. Iveta Faron also heading towards Akkura, and now here first Yulia Batenkova, Bauman from Ukraine, and she is fighting for the third place together with Lyudmila Lyashenko, and she knows it. She has to be very fast here in the last 100 meters because Lyashenko is also coming there. How is it going to be? Batenkova, Bauman or Lyashenko? Batenkova, Bauman first, of course, taking the second place, 43:22, 53 seconds behind Kononova, and then Lyashenko, Konachuk. And interesting here is to see Lyashenko, number 36, her final time against Yulia Batenkova, Bauman. Lyashenko goes and she takes the second place, and the difference is quite big. It's almost 25 seconds to Batenkova, Bauman. She was very fast here in the last 4.4 kilometer round. Didn't give any chances for land-made Batenkova, Bauman to pass her. So at the moment, Kononova, Lyashenko, Batenkova, Bauman, Konachuk for Ukrainians at the finish. And then we have Iveta Faron and also their Norwegian Vilde Nielsen approaching finish, and Nielsen fighting for podium place. Kononova leading 42:29. Difference was 17 seconds when they went out to the last 4.4 kilometers. How has Vilde made this last round? First Faron here finishing, but Vilde Nielsen, Norwegian, coming there, and Faron going on a fifth place behind Ukrainians, and then Nielsen. And time is ticking so that Kononova is keeping her pole position, and Vilde Nielsen goes on a second place, 26.9 seconds behind Kononova, and Lyashenko stays behind her 10 seconds slower. So Kononova, Nielsen, Lyashenko is today's top three in long distance World Cup race here in Östersund. Followed by Julia Batenkova, Bauman, Bodena Konachuk, Iveta Faron, and then we have Grace Miller and Louise Berottosdotter still on the course, and we're waiting for them, and we are soon getting ready also for the start for men's race. Men are competing 17.6 kilometers. Terry Ahrens from Great Britain has now 8.5 minutes to the start. And then visually impaired men there, Thomas Uxdal from Norway, 18 minutes to the start. And of course there all Swedes are following. Sebastian Modins, Östersund's own man, race today. Sebastian won yesterday, and of course is favorite number one for today's race also, together with Erik Bue, Dimitri Shuarko, Anatoly Kovlensky and Alexander Kazig. Maybe on the paper they are the favorites. And when we look at the men's standing race, at the same time what we are waiting for Miller and Perottosdotter, and then visually impaired women to finish their race. In men's standing skiers, Wildot Skubien, Benjamin Davier, Grigory Vovchinsky, Alexander Ehler, and Håkon Åsrud. They are the 5 names, and Davier is favorite number 1 together with Vovchinsky for today's race. But what says here Wildot Skubien, the Polish skier who leads the World Cup after 4 competitions? So interesting to see men's race, 17.6 kilometers, starting today at 12:30 local time here in Östersund. Grace Miller from USA approaching finish, and so are also the visually impaired women approaching finish area. They are now heading towards Akura and then coming back. Oksana Shyskova there first. We are waiting, and then Kara Klug, Karina Edlinger, and Adriana Kapustei. But now first, Grace Miller from USA, young 19 years old skier, finishing her race. Got her first World Cup points yesterday from the middle distance race, and now Grace finishing this long race, been out on a course for 55 minutes, and then when we take their form percentage time, it will be Grace 53.19, and today 7th place. And then visually impaired women and Oksana Shyskova, Vitali Kazakov approaching finish. Kononova, Nielsen, Lyashenko top 3 in women standing skiers race, and then visually impaired women. Question is, can Shyskova take the 2nd place from German Kara Glück during this last round, last 4.4 kilometers? Edlinger is so far away. Difference between Edlinger and Shyskova was almost 1.5 minutes at 8.8 kilometers, and here they come first. Oksana Shyskova and Vitali Kazakov. And of course, taking the lead at the moment, it's going to be again 2nd place or 3rd place. During this season, Shyskova been in cross-country races 2nd, 1st, 2nd, and yesterday 2nd. Today 3rd or 2nd. Now we wait to see Klara Klug and Karina Edlinger. Shyskova's leading time 45:28.3. And we are now looking towards the final curves here, and then getting ready also for men's race, where we have Terry Ahrens from Derby and Great Britain first to start in the Brit white, blue, and red outfit, getting ready. Terry, who has been here for many years, always with a good attitude, competing and having fun with the landmates and also with the para-athletes. And it might be saying that Terry might be the best one at the moment with table curling there at the hotel. He has the accurate hand on that game. How is it going to be today on a track? That will be seen in this afternoon. Terry has now 3 minutes to the start of a men's race. Now we're waiting for visually impaired women Kara Glück Karina Edlinger, Adriana Kapustei to finish today's race. Oksana Shushkova leading at the finish with the time 45:28. Glück being out for 49 minutes and her percentage is 988. Remember that. And men getting ready for their 18 kilometers, almost 18 kilometers long race. Arens, Toninelli, Tavachki, Larsen, Ulsrud, Ehler, Wovchinski, Davier, Skupien are the competitors in today's race. And the only skating race this season has been the short distance race in Finland, Vuokatti, in December. Benjamin Davier won that by 6 seconds ahead of Skupien. Wovchinski was third. Olsrud, Gerlitz, Ehler, Lemker, Romaniuk, Kavajoke, Sato were the top 10 in that first skate race. But it was only 5 kilometers. So today we are skiing 17 kilometers. So much more long race ahead of standing skier men. And then of course visually impaired getting ready for their race also. Only skate race was also in Finland, that short distance race. Brian McKeever won that, Sebastian Mudin was second and Alexander Kasik third. And now we have here Kara Glück, Martin Hartl, German skiers approaching finish, and behind her are the Austrians, Florian Seinwald, Karina Edlinger. And Austrians are going to take the victory here, but how is it between Germans and Ukrainians? Shushkova leading at the finish, and Klara Glück here, last 100 meters to ski. And now time is ticking, they know it. Hartl, Glück. Leading time is 45:28, and it looks that Glück is coming under it. So Klara Glück taking the second place at the moment. Excellent competition from the German skier Kara Glück, guided by Martin Hartl. 45:13, 14 seconds ahead of Oksana Shushkova, and then Karina Edlinger, Florian Seinwald taking a second victory here in Östersund. The Austrians and the winning time today 43:43.4 for Karina Edlinger. Congratulations. Karina, who lives and studies here in Östersund, knows these tracks. Maybe that helped her a little bit during the race, but today second victory for Austrian. Terry Arens starting men's race, and the Brit is on a course, and men, as I said, they are skiing 17.6 kilometers, 4 times 4.4 kilometers. Arens out first, followed by Italian Christian Toninelli. Yesterday on a middle distance race, Toninelli was 9th. Arens didn't compete yesterday at all. Classic isn't his style, he likes more skating. And top 3 in today's visually impaired race: Karina Edlinger, Kara Glück, Oksana Shushkova here at the finish area. And we have one more athlete here to come, and that is Adriana Kapustei, at the moment gliding to final area here, final meters at the stadium area, at the same time that Christian Toninelli from Italy starting his race. Adriana Kapustei, Ukraine, guided by Nazar Stefurak, young Ukrainian, 16 years old only, from Mukachevo. Started her World Cup season in Vuokatti. They were her first races, and now when we see her skiing here, it's much more better. Kapustei today 4th, 53:55 is her time. Karina Edlinger, Glück, Klara Glück, Oksana Shushkova, and Adriana Kapustei is the order of women's race. Luca Tavacci from Switzerland, 25 years old Swiss skier, is starting her World Cup season now. Didn't compete in Vuokatti, didn't compete yesterday. This is his first competition, and now I'm very interested to see what is the pace of this young Swiss skier here in Östersund. And young Swede Louise Perottosdotter finishing her race for standing skiers women. It started a little bit sadly. Louise was a little bit late from the start, but here Louise now skiing the last meters, long 13 kilometers behind her, tough race, and now finishing here. Been out on a course a little bit over 1 hour, and the calculated time for Louise is 55.50, and today 8th place. Trygve Steino Larsen from Norway next to start, Norwegian, who year ago was a sit skier, but now he is a standing skier, and that tells how much this technology and medicinary goes forward. The process in his leg, and he's out on a course there. I discussed with Trygve yesterday that it's a little bit difficulty in a downhill when it's turning towards his process. It's not so easy if you have both legs working or not, and when Trygve is now heading up on a first round. He's followed by Håkon Ulsrud, Norway. Yesterday Ulsrud was third. Wovchinski, Skubian, Ulsrud was the order of yesterday's middle distance race classic. Today it's the long distance race and skate. 33 years old skier from Oslo going out, and one of the favorites for today's race and fight for the podium, together with the next 4 men, Ehler, Wovchinski, Davier and Skupian. After Ulsrud, Alexander Ehler, Germany. Ehler was yesterday 4th. He's been close to the podium, 5th, 6th, 4th. Is it today podium place for a German skier from Emmendingen, lives there, 49 years old, but here it's just good to have some knowledge how to be skiing, and here goes the German skier. Wants to be on the podium also today, but it's going to be tough because we have 3 tough skiers to start here after the German, who is now climbing the first uphill here from Stadium. And the first one to beat is yesterday's winner, Grigory Wovchinski, Ukraine. Third, second and first are his places in this season's World Cup. Is only 10 points behind Skupian, who is currently World Cup leader and last starter of today's race. How it's going to be after today's race, when the victory gives 100 points, second place 60 points and so on. Third 60 points. What's the order of men in World Cup after this long distance race? Skupian starting very strongly here. What a pace this man has here in the first meters. He knows that behind him is starting one of the favorites for today's race, and he needs to be fast on a track because the Frenchman Benjamin Davier is starting after him. Davier has only 1 cross-country race behind him, and that was in Vuokatti, the short distance race, which he won. So this 4 times world champion, 3 times Paralympic champion in cross-country and biathlon together counted, mostly in biathlon, and this skating is his thing. He doesn't like to ski classic. Davier, the Frenchman, has the lowest IPC points of this group and is the favorite number 1 for today's race and starts the chase of Grigory Vovchinski. There goes the Frenchman up the first uphill, and there is one man standing at the starting area, and that is Witold Skupien from Poland. Man who is leading the World Cup at the moment, 29 years old Polish skier. Quite stable this season, 4th in the first race, middle distance in Vuokatti, then 2nd in the short distance skate right after Davier. Difference between Davier and Skupien was only 6 seconds in Finland, but that was only 5 kilometers race. Today we are skiing 17.6 kilometers. Then he won the sprint, was yesterday 2nd, and there goes the Polish skier out on a course which is 4.4 kilometers. And after that we have a 2-minute break before Thomas Uxdal from Norway starts the visually impaired men's race, which the favorite is, of course, from Sweden, Sebastian Modin here from Östersund, yesterday's winner. But it might be quite tough race because Erik Bue, Dimitri Sjuarko, Anatoly Kovalevsky, Jaroslav Reszinski and Alexander Kasik. These 5 are also eager to get on to the podium. And before them we have Lukas Kubicka, Piotr Garbowski, Inki Inola and Antoni Shalegun starting in today's race. Kasik might be Ukrainian. He didn't compete yesterday. 3rd in short distance race behind McKeever and Modin in Finland in December. So number 66 is the number to follow. And then of course all the last starters, Reshetinski, Kovalevsky, Sjuarko, Bue and Modin starting as the last man in today's race. But the first man is getting ready, and that is Thomas Uxdal. Uxdal from Norway, Ole Martin Lied working as his guide, giving instructions throughout the race so that they keep on the right track. And that way are very fast here. These first 4 athletes are B3 skiers, which means that the percentage is 100. And there goes Uxdal starting his race, followed by Kubicka, Garbowski, Inola. They are all B3 skiers. Then we have B1 skiers, Shalegun, Kasik, and the last starting Modin. Percentage is 88. And also Erik Bue is B3 skier. And then Reshetinski, Kovalevsky, Sjuarko are B2 skiers, and their percentage is 99. Next one, Lukas Kubicka and Evelina Marcic. His guide yesterday, Kubicka was 8th, 29 years old skier, gathered 96 World Cup points. Best result was yesterday's 8th place in Finland, places 11, 14 and 12, so there. Little bit behind the top 10 has Kubicka been. Hopefully today better race and fighting for good positions, maybe up till top 5. We'll see when Marcic and Kubicka starting their race. And then we have another Polish skier, Piotr Garbowski, Jakub Twardowski, duo. Twardowski working as a guide. Yesterday, 5th place. They had a good fight. Garbowski, Inola, Uxdal yesterday, might be also today, so that fight for places 5 to 8 today possible for the Polish skier in that group for today's race. And of course, when now we are skating, Karbowski was 11th in Finland, the only skate race so far. 8th, 11th, 9th, and yesterday 5th place for the Polish skier. Then Inkki Inola from Finland next to start. Close to Jyväskylä from Laukaa lives this young skier who has a birthday in the end of January, filling 20 years. Inola was yesterday 6th, just behind Garbowski. And Vili Sormunen working as his guide, and the Finns are getting the start permission in a few seconds. There goes the Finns, Vili Sormunen guide, Inkki Inola the athlete. And Inkki is also P3 skier, so 100% is his time. And here goes the Finn out for this today's long race, 17.6 kilometers. Anthony Chalegon from France starting here in Östersund. This is the first race also for him. Didn't compete yesterday. He doesn't compete in classic races. Was 5th fastest in a short distance skate race in Vuokatti. Simon Valverde is his guide and duo starting, and they are now B1 skiers. After him Kasik and also Mudin as a last starter, and the percentage for them is 88 in today's race, and often also so. There goes Anthony Chalegon. Marzin, France is his place where he lives. Relay world champion 2 times, 2015, 2017. French team has been very strong in the relays throughout the years, and Chalegon has been a member of that team, and possible that he is also a member of that team later this season when the World Championships are held in Canada. Alexander Kasik and Sergei Gutseryavi are getting ready. They were 3rd in that short distance race in Finland behind McKeever and Mudin. So Kasik is also favorite for today's race, studying physiotherapy in Bar, Ukraine. And there goes the Ukrainian duo. And then we have Terry Arens at the stadium, approaching first time, coming to 4.4 kilometers. Arens and Toninelli also soon here at the stadium, been skiing the first 4.4 kilometers. Arens used now 15 minutes, so that means that if he continues with the same pace all 4 rounds, the time, real time for Arens will be a little bit over 1 hour. And Toninelli approaching there after him. After Kasik, we should have Jaroslav Reshetinski, number 67, there at the starting area, but he's not there. So next one to start is Anatoly Kovalevsky and Alexander Mukshin from Ukraine. Ja, jag såg. There we have Siuarko starting his race, man to follow. Potapenko working as his guide. And we had there Ulsrud taking the lead. Ehler now currently on a second place at 4.4 kilometers, 20 seconds behind leading Ulsrud. And then Wowczynski, Steinar Larsen here at the stadium. And we have 2 men left at the start area. First is yesterday's second, Eirik Bue, Eivind Rued from Norway. 23 years old skier from Lillehammer is getting ready to start, and he is one of the favorites together with Kasik, Kovalevski, Siuarko, Bue, and then last starting Mudin. Now it's interesting to see today's skate race. Kasik, who was third in Finland, Bue was in that race 8th fastest, so needs to get better at that. Also Anthony Schalek, Benjamin Davier is now at the stadium, favorite number 1 for today's standing skiers men. And then we wait for Skopien. And then we have here Sebastian Mudin, yesterday's winner, Östersund's own man, getting ready for 17.6 kilometers long race. Jerry Arlin working as his guide, as so many times been. They are getting ready to start and the chase of Kasik, Kovalevski, Siuarko and Bue. Davier taking the lead, 11:51, 35 seconds ahead of Ulsrud. Ehler third, Wowczynski fourth, 1:17 behind Davier. Tavatsky, Larsen, Toninelli, Arends, and then we wait for Skubien, who is here approaching the arena, going to Akkura, and has the last 400 meters to ski before he is here at the stadium area. Same time that Mudin is leaving the stadium area to the first 4.4 kilometers loop. So now we have all skiers on a track, 10 visually impaired men competing today because Jaroslav Reshetinski from Ukraine didn't start today. And in men's race we have 9 skiers for standing skiers, and Davier leading at 4.4 kilometers. 35 seconds ahead of Ulsrud, Ehler, Wowczynski, Tavatsky, Larsen, Toninelli, Arens is the order, and then we wait for Polish Wildot Skopien here, and here he is coming. Little bit last uphill towards the stadium, and then he's skating here. Davier leading at the moment with the time 11:51.2, but Skopien is still to come there, the World Cup leader. And in the race in Finland, which was the only skate race so far, Skopien was second right behind Davier, but that race was only 5 kilometers. Today we are skiing 17.6 kilometers. Skopien at the stadium area, and clock is ticking, and it looks to be so that at the moment Davier is leading, but because of the percentages it's getting narrower and narrower until the end. The difference between Davier, Ulsrud, Ehler and Skopien very smoothly is Skopien here coming to the stadium area, turning towards our intermediate place, which is straight after passing to Arenan at 4.4 kilometers. And then it doesn't take so many minutes when we have the first visually impaired men here. Uksal has been out on a course for 12 minutes so far, when Skopien passing here and going to take the third place at the moment. Yes, goes on a fourth place, just behind Ehler. 1 minute 4 seconds behind Davier. And Davier has started very strongly here the first 4.4 kilometers. So situation in standing skiers men's race. Benjamin Davier from France leading. Ulsrud from Norway second, 35 seconds behind. Then Ehler from Germany 56 seconds. Skopien 1:04. Wowczynski 1:17. And then 1.5 minute gap to Tavatsky, Steinar Larsen, Toninelli and Arends. That's the order in men's race. When visually impaired men are now approaching the stadium, next Thomas Uxdal and Ole Martin Lied started first, are also first here at the stadium. And we saw already Polish skier Kubicka and Garbowski approaching Akkura, and after that the stadium, Uxal, who was yesterday 7th in the competition, which was won by Sebastian Mudin, and now at 4.4 kilometers, Uxal giving us the first time being out on a course now for 14 minutes. So in that, when we'll calculate their time for Uxal, it's a little bit under 1 hour competition for Uxal if he continues with the same pace. Then 2 Polish skiers also approaching the stadium. There are together Lukas Kubicka, guided by Evelina Marcic, and Piotr Garbowski and Jakub Twardowski. They are now approaching their Garbowski, passing Kubicka there just when they are entering the arena. Uxdal at 4.4 kilometers, 14:19.8 is time for Norwegian. And then the Polish skiers. First Garbowski, and behind is Kubicka, passing to arena here after each other. Garbowski approaching 4.4 kilometers together with Kubicka and Inki Inola from Finland also soon here at the stadium area, starting 1 minute later than the Polish skier. Then Shalegon Kazik, one of the favorites, we are waiting them. Garbowski takes the lead 1 minute ahead of Norwegian Uxal, and then Kubicka taking the third place 1:05 behind Garbowski. So Uxal Kubicka difference is only 4 seconds at the moment. And then we are seeing Vili Sormunen and Inki Inola. Sormunen guiding Inola, approaching the stadium area at the same time when the Polish skier are leaving the stadium. And the next one there looks to be the Frenchman Anthony Chalegon and Simon Valverde, also approaching stadium. First they have to climb up back to Akkura and then downhill towards the stadium, where we have now the Finns. Inki Inola looks to be taking the second place behind Garbowski. Yesterday Inola and Garbowski were in a good fight for the 5th place. Garbowski was faster, by 20 seconds faster than the young Finn. And here is Inola Sormunen duo passing to arena at the moment. Inola coming to 4.4 kilometers and Shalegon there approaching the stadium. And then after Shalegon, Gazik, Ukrainian, one of the favorites for today's race. Third in Vuokatti when we have the first skate race. First Inola here and takes the second place, 44 seconds behind Garbowski. And then Shalegon from France, Simon Valverde giving instructions there in front. And Chalegon is the first B1 skier here. Percentage is 88 for the Frenchman. And then we saw Kazik, and now there are Kovalevsky already and Ulsrud already coming towards 8.8 kilometers soon here. So Norwegian has been very good here on the first half of the competition. Ulsrud, who is on a second place in men's race, approaching also soon the stadium area, heading towards Akkura at the moment. And here on the stadium, Anthony Chalegon from France looks to be taking the lead at the moment from Piotr Garbowski from Poland. And then Alexander Kazik starting 1 minute later here. And it's quite tight between Chalegon and Gazik at the moment. They have the same percentages, so here at the competition center you can also follow quite easy what is the difference between Chalegon and Gazik. Chalegon taking the lead, 12:35.4 is the leading time at the moment, and then Gazik and Kovalevsky. Kovalevsky and Alexander Mukshin guiding him, approaching also, and Håkon Olsrud coming already to 8.8 kilometers, Norwegian here behind Ukrainian duo Anatoly Kovalevsky, Alexander Mukshin. Visually impaired skiers, but first Alexander Gazik and Sergei Kucheryavi. 4.4 kilometers, where we have Anthony Chalegon in the lead. And it's quite tight between Gazik and Chalegon. Chalegon taking the lead by 3 seconds, 2.8 if we are exact. Gazik leading, but then Kovalevsky coming also there, and there is Olsrud behind the Ukrainians, having also a good pace and some help from the Ukrainians here. Olsrud going out already on a third round. Kovalevsky taking the lead in visually impaired race, 5 seconds ahead of Gazik, and Olsrud leading time is 24:49. And then we wait for Davier, who started 3 minutes later than the Norwegian. Davier's percentage is 93, so it takes a little bit more than that 3 minutes before we have the Frenchman here at the stadium, where we have Dmitry Zyuarko from Ukraine, Vasil Potapenko as the guide. They were third yesterday, and now Kovalevsky, Gazik, Chalegon leading at the moment, and Zyuarko approaching intermediate place. And is he going to take the third place, or how it's going to be? Eirik Bue also, Norwegian, and Eivind Rued as a guide. They've been out on a course now 11:40. Kovalevsky's leading time is 12:27, so they have now 45 seconds to take the lead, Norwegians at the moment. Alexander Ehler from Germany also here at the stadium. Zyuarko takes the fourth place behind Kovalevsky, Gazik and Chalegon. Only 18 seconds behind leading Kovalevsky, so very, very tight between VI skiers at the moment. And then Eirik Bue started 1 minute after Zyuarko, and it looks to be so that Bue is taking the lead at the moment. Clock is ticking there. Bue passing the intermediate place and takes it by 0.2 seconds ahead of Kovalevsky. So top 5 at the moment in visually impaired men's race is among 18 seconds, and we are now waiting for Sebastian Mudin to come there. Davier closing also the stadium at 8.8 kilometers. That is the halfway of men's race. Olsrud leading, Ehler 40 seconds behind on the second place. And then we have Luka Tavachki, Christian Toninelli and Benjamin Davier here at the stadium area, and also Terry Ahrens now coming together with Sebastian Mudin, Swede here, gliding to stadium. And clock is ticking, so that it looks to be so that Mudin is taking the lead from Bue, but we know it exactly after a few hundred meters skied when they are here at intermediate place. Davier first to 8.8 kilometers in standing skiers race, and Davier takes the lead by 1 minute ahead of Olsrud. So he has increased the gap between Olsrud by 25 seconds. So at the moment it looks to be so that the Frenchman Benjamin Davier is gliding away from all the others. Olsrud on the second place, 1 minute behind, then Ehler 1:40, and then we're now waiting for Wovchinski, who is here on the stadium, to come, and same time Mudin at 4.4 kilometers, and then we have all visually impaired men at the time that place. Mudin passing it and taking the lead by 49 seconds ahead of Eirik Bue. So it looks to be so that Mudin is keeping a pace that no one can answer to. Bue, Kovalevski, Kasik, Shalegon fighting, and also Shiwarko fighting for the second and the third, fourth, fifth and sixth place. So it's very tight there between them. But Mudin is in his own pace there in the lead. Vovchinski, same time at 8.8 kilometers, taking fourth place. Before that, we go through once more the visually impaired men's situation. Mudin leading, and then Bue, Kovalevski, Kasik, Shalekon, Shiwarko. There is the group fighting for places 4 to 6, and then Garbovski on the 7th place, Inola, Uksal and Kubichka places 8 to 10. That is situation in men's visually impaired race at 4.4 kilometers, and now situation in standing skiers race at 8.8 kilometers, where we are now waiting for Trygve Steinar Larsen and Viltot Skupien still to come. Steinar Larsen, they're approaching the arena. Davier leading 1 minute ahead of Ulsrud. Ehler 40 seconds from Ulsrud. Vovchinski again 1 minute 12 seconds from Ehler. So quite big differences between men at the moment. Tavaci on the 5th place, Toninelli, Arens, and now Steinar Larsen approaching competition center here, and also Skupien can we see here passing the arena, so that heading towards Acura Hotel, and then soon here at the stadium. But it looks to be so that Davier, Ulsrud and also maybe Ehler are in a pace that at the moment they are hanging on the podium positions. Trygve Steinar Larsen from Norway to halfway, 8.8 kilometers. Been out now for 33 minutes, and the percentage for Steinar Larsen is 93. So soon we'll see. Quite close with Toninelli. Difference between the men was only 7 seconds at 4.4 kilometers. What is the difference between them now when we have skied 8.8 kilometers? Toninelli currently on the 6th place. Larsen a little bit behind him, but ahead of Arens. Larsen taking the 7th place, 28 seconds behind Toninelli. And Skupien, World Cup leader, approaching the arena, is here on the stadium. Davier leading, Ulsrud, Ehler, top 3, and Skupien now 28:40 is the real time. But then we start to calculate 89% of that time is his real competition time. So now interesting to see. Skupien was on the 4th place, only 8 seconds behind Ehler, and the difference to Ulsrud was half a minute. What is it now, 4.4 kilometers later, when we are here at 8.8 kilometers? And here comes Skupien to 8.8 kilometers. And soon we are going to have also first visually impaired skier Thomas Uksal approaching arena stadium area. Skupien goes on the 4th place. And the differences between the men are staying quite big. Davier leading 1 minute ahead of Ulsrud. Then Ehler 40 seconds from Ulsrud, and Skupien on 4th place 53 seconds behind Ehler, currently on the 4th place. Norwegians, Uxdal and lead, and then followed by Garbowski-Twardowski duo from Poland. First one to 8.8 kilometers and halfway in men's visually impaired race. Garbowski is on a good pace. Currently, Garbowski is on a 7th place, 32 seconds behind Siwarko. That group might be too far away, but Garbowski is going to be quite stable there on the 7th place. Then Inola, Uxal, Kubichka was the order at 4.4 kilometers. Now Garbowski takes the lead, 27:01.2 is the time. Uxal, of course, goes on a 2nd place. Kubichka next to arrive here, and then Inki Inola approaching Acura as a 4th man then towards the stadium, and then we're waiting for this group of Chalegon, Gazi, Kovlevski, Siwarko, Bue and Mudin. Men's situation, standing skiers at 8.8 kilometers. Davier leading, Ulsrud, Ehlers, Kubien, Wowczynski, Tawacki, Toninelli, Larsen, Orens is the order of these 9 skiers. Lukas Kubichka and Evelina Maršić here at 8.8 kilometers. And Kubichka goes currently on a 3rd place. Garbowski, Uxdal, Kubichka, and that is the order, or has been the order quite a long time. Difference between Uxdal and Kubichka is getting a little bit bigger. It's still only 11 seconds at the moment. Inki Inola, Vili Sormunen duo now at the stadium, coming to 8.8 kilometers. And Inola was at 4.4 kilometers on 8th place. 16 seconds ahead of Uxal. And Garbowski was 45 seconds ahead of Inola, so it looks to be quite stable here on 8th place for Inola. Interesting to see now what is the difference between Uxal and Inola at the moment. And then we have already there Ulsrud approaching 13.2 kilometers also in men's standing race. First Inki Inola from Finland, and he's taking 2nd place behind Piotr Garbowski, 1:25 behind leading Polish skier. Anthony Chalegon, the Frenchman, approaching 8.8 kilometers, and Håkon Ulsrud, Norwegian, coming already to 13.2 kilometers and going out to the last round. Last 4.4 kilometers for Norwegian. Ulsrud, who is on a 2nd place at the halfway, 8.8 kilometers, 1 minute behind Davier. Ehlers is 40 seconds behind Norwegian. So if he continues like this, it looks to be stable there on a 2nd place. Chalegon, in the other hand, is on a 5th place at 4.4 kilometers in a good fight with Bue, Kovalevski, Karsik and Siwarko, places 2 to 6. And also Kovalevski approaching stadium here. And now Ulsrud and then Chalegon. Ulsrud at 13.2 kilometers and Chalegon at the same time at 8.8 kilometers. 37:23 is time for Ulsrud, and Chalegon takes the lead. Of course, 1:49 ahead of Garbowski. But here is the most interesting question is then, what is the pace for Kazi, Kovalevski, Bue, who are now here at the stadium at the same time when Chalegon already leaving it. And now we are at the halfway of this long distance race for visually impaired men. And this group, Bue, Kasik, Shuarko, Kovalevsky and Shalegon. Now we have here Bue, Kasik, Shuarko, Kovalevsky, all four here at the stadium. First Kovalevsky, who was on a third place at 4.4 kilometers, losing 55 seconds to Shalegon. So he has dropped down quite a lot. And then Bue is there together with Shuarko. And sorry, Kasik there. And now we will see Bue is going to take the lead. Yes, Bue takes the lead, 18 seconds ahead of Shalegon, and Kasik goes on a third place, 35 seconds behind Bue. So it's very tight, very tight. Bue, Shalegon, Kasik. Kovalevsky already 1:14 behind, and then we have Dimitri Shuarko now passing to intermediate place, 1 minute behind Bue. So this fight for places in this competition, places 2 to 6, looks to be so now at the Bue and Shalegon are getting a little bit away from the Ukrainians. Kasik, Shuarko, Kovalevsky in that order, places 3, 4 and 5 at the moment when we are waiting for Sebastian Mudin there. But before that, Alexander Ehler and Benjamin Davier at 13.2 kilometers. Ehler, the German skier, is now hanging on the first podium place this season. Ostersund leading at 13.2 kilometers, and difference to Ehler is 54 seconds. So it's 14 seconds more that it was at 8.8 kilometers. And then Davier, he was leading by 1 minute at 8.8 kilometers halfway, and now already here on stadium approaching 13.2 kilometers intermediate place. The Frenchman is keeping good pace so that the others can't not answer to that. Here comes Davier to 13.2 kilometers, and then Sebastian Mudin gliding same time to the stadium and coming to the halfway, 8.8 kilometers. Davier taking the lead with marching, which is 1 minute 23 seconds. So on this third round, the difference increased by 23 seconds. So it looks now quite stable here. Davier, Ostersund, Ehler, and then we have to wait for a while before we have Skubien, Wovchinski, Tavatsky, Toninelli, Larsen and Arens here at 13.2 kilometers. Sebastian Mudin coming to 8.8 kilometers, so halfway of this long distance race for visually impaired men. Eirik Bue leading, but the Mudin is taking the lead with a good margin. It was 49 seconds at 4.4 kilometers, and now the difference is already over 1.5 minutes. How much is it? And that will be seen in a few seconds. The difference is 1:25. Sebastian Mudin leading. Bue 1:25 behind. Shalegon third, 1:43 behind. Then Kasik, Shuarko, Kovalevsky, Garbovsky, Inola, Oksal and Kubichka. And fight for the second to sixth place. It a little bit went broken at this moment. They were much more closer to each other after 4.4 kilometers, but now it looks good for Bue and Shalegon. Then the Ukrainians on the places 4 to 6. Standing skiers already at 13.2 kilometers. And we have now Wovchinski passing it. Davier, Ostersund, Ehler, Wovchinski, 3:55 behind Davier, currently on the fourth place. Luca Tavacci and Christian Toninelli here at the stadium. And then it takes a small while before we have Viltot Skubien here on the stadium. And at 13.2 kilometers, Its differences between the men are quite big. They are bigger than I assumed before the competition. I waited much more tighter race, but that moment Davier, Ulsrud, Ehler and Skubien and also Wowczynski are keeping a pace that the others can't answer it. Tavaci currently on the 5th place and Skubien has been faster, so on the 6th place and then Toninelli answering that, and the difference between Tavaci and Toninelli is quite big also, so they are skiing quite stable there on the places 6 and 7 in this race, when we have Skubien still to come to the top 5 to 13.2 kilometers. Here is a small gap before Skubien arriving. His percentage is only 88, so 89, so that means that he is getting a little bit behind all the time. But then, in the other hand, the percentage gives him a possibility to fight for the top places. Now Terry Arens from Great Britain approaching 13.2 kilometers and is going out for the last round. Last 4.4 kilometers for the Brit left. Arens from Derby. And football enthusiastic, of course. Now at 13.2 kilometers. Been out now 50 minutes and one more round to ski, and that means that it will be a little bit over there, 1 hour and 10 minutes, a little bit under for Arens, the real-time competition length in today's race for this 17.6 kilometers long distance competition. And after Arens, also we are waiting for Tryggve Larsen and then of course Wildot Skubien here to 13.2 kilometers. Arens passing it here. And time for Arens at 13.2 kilometers is 48:49. And then we are looking towards the arena and we are seeing Uxal approaching soon here. First Skubien here, and at the same time we can see Norwegian Thomas Uxal and Ole Martin Lied heading towards Acura Sports Hotel, and then from there to stadium area to 13.2 kilometers, where we are soon having also here Wildot Skubien, and looks to be so that Skubien is going to take the 4th place behind Davier, Ulsrud and Ehler. And also there we are going to have Piotr Garbowski approaching Arenan and Tryggve Larsen for the standing skiers. And it doesn't take so many minutes when we have the finisher of the standing skiers, Håkon Olsrud from Norway, approaching there soon also the stadium area last time in today's race. Skubien turning here on the stadium and soon at 13.2 kilometers intermediate place. Piotr Garbowski from Poland for the visually impaired also coming to that place, and then we have Tryggve Larsen and Thomas Uxal from Norway also here heading to the 13.2 kilometers intermediate place. Skubien here passing 13.2 kilometers, taking the 4th place. 3 minutes 45 seconds behind Benjamin Davier. So that means that Davier, Ulsrud, Ehler, Skubien, Wowczynski is getting closer and closer to Skubien. Otherwise, the differences between the men are quite big. So only thing that we can now little bit follow is that is Grigory Vovchinski going to pass Wiltot Skupieng during the last 4.4 kilometer round here in today's race. Uxal, Karbovski leading 40.59, and then Uxal and Steinar Larsen, Norwegians at intermediate place. Steinar Larsen goes on a 8th place just ahead of Terry Arens, and Uxal takes the 2nd place as estimated 2.5 minutes behind Polish Piotr Karbowski. So the final situation in men's race at the 13.2 kilometers is so that, as we saw here on our web stream few minutes ago, that Davier, Ulsrud, Ehler, Skupien, Vovchinski are the top 5. Then there is a big difference, big gap to Tavatsky, Toninelli, Steinar Larsen and Arens. Those places are quite stable there. As I said, only thing that we can follow here is that is Vovchinski going to catch up Skupien on this last round. Håkon Olsrud approaching finish, and there we have also then visually impaired men approaching 13.2 kilometers, but soon we are going to have a first standing skier here at the finish area, and that is Håkon Olsrud from Norway, and Oslo going to take the 2nd place in today's race. Differences between the men are so big that Benjamin Davier, who is leader at 13.2 kilometers, is going to take the World Cup victory here in Östersund. And here comes silver medalist in today's race, Håkon Olsrud from Norway. Good race, good stable race from start to finish, and Olsrud finishing today 2nd in today's race. First man in the finish used 51 minutes today, and that means that calculated time for Olsrud is coming soon here on our screen. And then we have Eirik Bue already here also at the stadium area, approaching 13.2 kilometers, intermediate place together with Lukas Kubicka, and there's Anthony Chalegon, French in Kinola, of course. First Inola taking at the moment 2nd place behind Garbovski, 140 behind Inola, and difference between Inola and Oxal is 52 seconds. Ulsrud time today 49:37.3, and then Bue and Chalegon here at the stadium. Also Kovalevski. Bue currently on a 2nd place in today's race behind Mudin, who is gliding away from the Norwegian. That was a little bit expected to happen also. Bue taking the lead. Karbovski 3:38 behind, but now Chalegon, and this should be taken under consideration. And what is difference between Bue and Chalegon, because they are fighting about the 2nd place in today's race. And it looks to be so that it's very, very tight. Difference between the men is 21 seconds. Is it enough for Bue, or is it too much for Chalegon? That's the question for the last round. Then Kovalevsky, Syuarko, Ukrainians here first. Kovalevsky to 13.2 kilometers. And at the final straight we have Alexander Ehler finishing, and Ehler is going to take today the bronze place, first time to the podium for the German skier. Ehler pushing here the last meters, and good race for the German. Behind Ulsrud takes the 2nd place, 50:23.1, 45 seconds behind Norwegian taking the 2nd place, and the gap to Skupien was so big that the Ehler is today 3rd. Congratulations to the German skier. And then at 13.2 kilometers, Syuarko, Kovalevsky went on the places 3 and 4. 1.5 minute is the gap from Bue to Shivarko. Kovalevski 2.5 minutes behind Bue. And Kasik approaching next. Here the 13.2 kilometers. Kasik, who was on a 4th place. And then we have a number 1 man on a course gliding to stadium. That is Benjamin Davier from France. Here on the final straight, Davier, Frenchman, is taking the victory. 100 World Cup points from Östersund. First long distance race. And Davier here taking it easy and smoothly. He knows that the gap to Håkon Ostersund has been so big that it can take it easy. Ale! Benjamin Davier winning today this long distance race. Today's time 48:12.1, 1 minute 25 seconds faster than Håkon Ostersund. Alexander Ehler is 3rd. And then interesting now see, is it going to be Skubien or Wowczynski 4th in today's race? And then Sebastian Mudin approaching 13.2 kilometers. We had Kasik, he took the 3rd place, 1:21 behind Bue, already 1 minute behind Chalegon. So that is too much for Ukrainian to catch up the Frenchman, because the percentages are quite the same for the Ukrainian and the Frenchman. So it looks to be Mudin, Bue, Chalegon, the order for the men visually impaired in today's competition. And only question is now that can Dimitri Shivarko catch up Alexander Kasik on the last round? Kasik, it's situation so that it's a little bit on the Kasik side at the moment. The situation, he is leading by 17 seconds, so Shivarko needs to almost fly this last round. Sebastian Mudin comes here now to 13.2 kilometers, and Mudin takes the lead, and the margin was 1:25, and it is now almost 2 minutes. It's 1:51, and then Grigory Wowczynski, who is fighting for the 4th place, finishing now 52:50, and that is time to beat for Wildert Skubien. Davier, Ostersund, Ehler, Wowczynski, currently 4 best men at the finish. And the question is, can Wildert Skubien keep Wowczynski behind him? Difference was at 13.2 kilometers between Skubien and Wowczynski. 10 seconds. When we looked at the percentages between Skubien and Wowczynski, it's a little bit on the Skubien side, but everything can happen during the last round. Visually impaired men at 13.2 kilometers. There Mudin leading, Bue 2nd, Chalegon 3rd, and the differences are big. Bue 1:51, Chalegon 2:12 behind. Then Kasik 3:12, Shivarko 3:29. So there can be a small fight for the 4th place between Kasik and Shivarko. And then Kovalevski, Garbovski, Inola, Uksal, Kubitschka. Quite in that order are the men, because the differences are quite big between the skiers. So we're waiting for Wildert Skubien and then for the visually impaired men to finish their long distance race here in Östersund. The first World Cup races here. Next year the World Cup races will be so that it will be the finals, and then the World Championships in 2 years are going to be held here in Östersund. Tomorrow will be the rest day also for the viewers for the web stream. On Tuesday evening at 4 o'clock in the afternoon local time here in Östersund, we are going to have the first biathlon races. Middle distance races, sit skiers, 6 kilometers for women and 7.5 kilometers for men, and also same distances for standing skiers and visually impaired on Tuesday evening. This World Cup week will continue then on Wednesday with the cross-country sprints in the evening, qualification starting at 5 o'clock local time here in Östersund, and the finals at 18:30 on Wednesday evening. And on Thursday we have then again biathlon race ahead of us. On Wednesday, yeah, and then continuing there from Thursday, so that we have a rest day and a Friday biathlon long distance competition before Saturday's relays, first relay of the season. So that's the program for this week here in Östersund. All the other competitions are then in the evening, starting at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock here. So welcome to follow also here on Ostersund this evening competition. Well, the top para-athletes are competing here in Ostersund. Next one to finish here is Luca Tavacci from Switzerland. This is his season opening and a long distance race, 17.6 kilometers, 18 kilometers for Tavacci, Switzerland. And he is going to take today 6th place in today's competition, finishing now 5th, but we know that Skopje is still to come there with the better pace. Final time for Tavacci is 1:52.7. Then Cristian Toninelli, Italy, next to finish, and Toninelli has been there on the 7th place almost from start. Tryggve Steino Larsen was 40 seconds behind him at 13.2 seconds, so it is 7th place in today's race for Italian Cristian Toninelli. Finishing, he was 9th yesterday in middle distance, so a little bit better today, taking the 7th place. Tired he is, but of course it has been a tough long distance race for all standing skiers. 18 kilometers, Toninelli 1:02.40 final time for Italian, and today 7th place, taking the 6th place at the moment. Piotr Garbowski from Poland and Jakub Twardowski, his guide, are the first visually impaired men approaching the finish here, gliding to the stadium area, and here they are. Garbowski, who is going to be today 7th. Differences between Kovalevski, Garbowski, Inola, Uksal, and Kubitschka were so big already at 13.2 kilometers that Piotr Garbowski taking the 7th place today in the second World Cup race in Östersund and 5th of the season. 1 place better than yesterday. Garbowski takes the lead, of course, now 54.40, 24.8, and it's going to be 7th in today's race. Norwegian Thomas Uksal next to finish, and Uksal is going to take the 9th place in today's race, and behind him we had Wildot Skubien, World Cup leader of the standing skiers, and it's going to be Skubien or Wovchinski on the 4th place in today's race. It's quite tight, but it looks to be that Skubien has half the strength on the last round to keep Wovchinski behind him. First Uksal finishing his race, and then Wovchinski, Skubien here, and it looks to be so that Skubien beats Wovchinski, yes, by... No, it's the other way around. Wovchinski beating Skubien by 2 seconds. So Grigory Wovchinski is 4th, Wildot Skubien is 5th, only 2 seconds behind Ukrainian. So Davier, Ulsrud, Erer, Wovchinski, Skubien is the top 5 in today's race. And then Terry Arens from Great Britain next to finish. And then after him there is Eirik Bue, approaching finish already. Bue, who is going to take the second place in today's race. And also here we can notice that Karina Ellinger is going to cheer up for Eirik for the final meters. First, Terry Arens here. Arens finishing today on 9th place, 1:05.26. And then Eirik Bue, last 50 meters to ski. Bue taking the second place in today's race behind Sebastian Mudin. 49:23.1 is Bue's time, and that is good time. And I believe Chalegon, who is there soon approaching the stadium area, can't answer to that because the gap between Chalegon and Bue was almost 20 seconds, 21 seconds at 13.2 seconds. And Bue was very strong on this last round, increasing the gap to Karbovski quite a lot from 13.2 kilometers. In Kiinola from Finland, Vili Sormunen working his guide next to finish, and also Trygve Steino Larsen from Norway approaching finish here. Steino Larsen, who has been fighting together with Christian Toninelli about the 7th place, but looks to be so that Toninelli is keeping that 7th place, and Steino Larsen is going to be 8th in today's race. In Kiinola from Finland, finishing here, and Inola is today 8th. Finishing there just ahead of Uxal, 56:28.8. And today's position will be finally 8th fastest. Trygve Steino Larsen from Norway, finishing there, goes on a 7th place, beating Toninelli, as I said, the other way around, but Steino Larsen was stronger here on the end, and Steino Larsen takes the 7th place. And then we have here Dimitri Siuarko taking the 2nd place behind Eirik Bue, 2:03 behind. And then Antoni Chalegon, who was fighting good, have a good fight with Eirik Bue about the 2nd place. And Chalegon has here last 50 meters to ski, followed by Luka Kubicka and Evelia Marcic. First Chalegon finishing here and goes on a 2nd place behind Eirik Bue. Difference is only 12.9 seconds. So Bue, Chalegon, Siuarko, Garbovski, Inola, Uxal, Kubicka, it's the order at now, but then Anatoly Kovalevsky is coming there and going to take the, at the moment, 4th place from Garbovski, and Kovalevsky finishing on the 6th place behind Siuarko. There's Kovalevsky 4th at the finish, but we know that there are still Kazik and Mudin to come. So Bue, Chalegon, Siuarko, Kovalevsky is the top 4 at the moment. Excellent race from Antoni Chalegon today, taking the 3rd place here in Östersund. And Frenchman is happy here at the finish area together with his guide Simon Valverde. And then we have 2 men and their guides on a course. They are Alexander Kazik, guided by Sergei Kucheryavi, and Östersund's own boy, own man, Sebastian Mudin and Jerry Arlin. And there we can see both of them, Kazik struggling a little bit there in that corner, heading towards Acura Hotel, and then Mudin much more smoothly taking that corner together with Jerry Arlin. And he's going to take the 2nd in a row here in Östersund in front of home audience and home organizers. This World Cup race, and increasing his lead in the World Cup because Brian McKeever is not competing here in Östersund this week. These 2 skiers, Kazik and Mudin, now side by side there, gliding towards the stadium area. Hopefully they're staying up and no collisions here because they are quite close to each other, Mudin and Kazik. Mudin passing there, Kazik in the last uphill, and then heading towards the stadium. today's number one. Sebastian Mudin, Jerry Arlin first there, and then Alexander Kazik together with Sergei Kucheryavi. And Kazik is, we'll see, Suarko or Kazik today fourth place. It's very, very tight between the men, Kazik and Suarko in today's race. But here comes number one, nummer ett idag också. Grattis Sebastian. Here comes Sebastian Mudin, winning second in a row here in Östersund for visually impaired men's 18 kilometers, and the winning time is 47:05.9. And then Dimitri Suarko and Kazik, and it's low that Suarko is fourth and Kazik is fifth, 11 seconds behind Suarko. So final results for visually impaired men. Sebastian Mudin from Sweden, Östersund, winning here. 27:05.9 is his winning time. Eirik Bue from Norway second, Anthony Chalegon from France third, followed by Dimitri Suarko, Alexander Kazik, Anatoly Kovalevsky, Ukrainians in that order, and then Piotr Karbovsky, Inki Inola, Thomas Uksal, Lukas Kubica are in that order on places 7 to 10. Flowering ceremony for standing skiers, women and men, and for the visually impaired women and men will be very soon here at the finish area. But at this moment, I'd like to thank you all who have been following our web stream from Östersund. Tomorrow will be a rest day, and then we continue competition here from Östersund on Tuesday evening. And in that moment, we are going to have a new voice here doing this races. Here once more of the results for men standing. Davier, Ulsrud, Ehler, top 3 on today, followed by Wovchinski, Skubien, Tavatsky, Larsen, Toninelli and Arens. So thank you for my behalf, you who have been following these competitions here from Östersund. On Tuesday we'll continue, and then there will be a new voice for web stream, but I will continue here at the stadium area. Flowering ceremony very soon here also at the stadium area.